Welcome
to the
MOTVPOD.
Pod.
We're here today with our lovely guest,
The valedictorian of SRB.
Gouta. And today we're going to be talking about, well, quite spiffy endeavors.
We have no plan. To be honest, we've already ran like most of the conversation in the car and then in the setup, so we don't have much else to say.
Started, bro.
All right,
Oh my gosh. No, but he said he was saving some stories, bro. But like, anyways, so, man, you're going to U of T soon, bro. How does it feel, man?
Exciting. Pretty fun. Like, it's a big school with a lot of people, and it's like a big reputation. So I'm kind of excited for the challenge. Like, I'm the kind of person, like, I like when things are hard. So I'm excited for that. But there are some weird people. So like, I'm just like, I'm not sure how I'm gonna navigate that space.
Okay.
Yet. Like
Okay.
they added me to these group chats, and
the group chats are always effed up, bro. The group chats are always effed up, bro.
yeah, nah, bro.
Dude,
The
I
thing is,
saw
once you get there, you understand what's going on. But like when you're in the group chat, it's like a little chaotic because nobody nobody knows anybody at all.
Right.
And you got people from like Mexico and shit in there.
Yeah.
So like,
The thing is, though, like, what's really nice is everybody's really trying to meet people, man. Like, everyone wants to
I
have
remember you said this
friends.
to me once. Yo, the thing about university is everybody's so desperate for friends
Yeah.
that they'll talk to anybody.
Bro,
So
I had like random ass kids like from India or like like just randomly hit me up like, hey,
Hey, what's up,
Like, what's
man?
up? And I'm like, yo, what's good,
that was
man?
me last August. So
Yeah, like I posted like these pictures of me like from a studio, and like some random guy this morning is like, nice, where'd you take those pictures? Like, but he knows fully like I'm not even in Toronto. I'm from a different country.
the proactive youths. The thing is, if they're from a different country, they know they have to be proactive because like they got
There's no
no
support.
connections at all.
Which is scary, man. Because at least in Ottawa, bro, like sometimes, like, which is so rare, even though a lot of people are in Ottawa, I run into someone. And that feels always refreshing, bro. Like, every time I see
Really,
someone.
that's interesting.
Yeah, like, it actually feels good.
Because I've never ran into anybody.
Dude, it always feels so good to run into somebody I know because we actually see no one we know.
You're like welcome. You're like, oh my god, like I found you in this like
yeah,
world.
literally,
Like,
it's like I found you in this like swarm of people. Like, it's 1 in a million chance.
you're like, oh, you're here too. Okay, shit.
yeah, you live here.
like we struggling together. Type
Yo,
shit.
like literally the other day, I was coming out of the office and I saw, and I was like, "No way, bro, how you doing?"
Like,
Yeah, you're
bro,
so right.
I
It's
didn't
the
even
most
fuck-
refreshing feeling.
Like I
That's
didn't
the
even
thing,
fuck
right?
with you in high school.
Yeah.
You could have never fucked with somebody in high school, but the second, like when I saw one time at my house, I was like I never talked to. But the second I saw him, I was like, yo, I know you.
Yeah.
I know you. What's
Yeah, you playing.
It's funny. It's funny because the thing is, I dapped him up, and then like about like 5 seconds in, I'm like, wait, I never fucked with you before. Like, like
Yeah, I
why
never
am I-
talk.
Like,
yeah,
why am I hype right now?
Yo,
Like, I had to like back off because I don't want to seem fake, you know.
That's what I'm saying, bro. That's why we gotta build because like we'll have the SRB mafia. We all come back, bro, all super rich, and we'll always be
Yo,
like.
I don't have
G
that.
shit
I
with
don't
each
have that
other.
kind of confidence in
Sorry,
SRB, bro.
like fashion. No, same. Bro.
I don't have that kind of confidence in
nah.
SRB, bro. The SRB mafia. Who are you talking about, bro?
Yo, well, they have the confidence.
The 3 of us.
They have the confidence.
Not the 4 of us.
Yo, but they have the confidence in you, man. This guy's repping the valedictorian merch. Sheesh.
Always.
Yo,
But
so
I
how'd you
realized a
become-
lot. Don't know any, like they still don't contact people from their school like later on. Like taking like
Well,
most
obviously.
schools
But
feel
what-
like I'm like upper middle class.
You
They
think
don't
I'm
have
gonna
these
go
6+
like
jobs.
out of my way to go back on Snapchat and hit up, bro? Like, how you doing, man?
No, but that's the point.
Like, I'd
like,
love to see him, but I'm not gonna go.
like
out
the
of my way.
lives are still like essentially carbon copies of each other. Like it's just like boop boop boop. Like everybody got the same ass life, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but it just means that like it's not that interesting because everything they tell you you might really fuck with, but you also have it in your own life.
Do you think people look that think that of us? You think we're living the same life?
Yeah, I don't think they give a shit
Nah,
about
I
us,
feel
bro.
like-
No, I know. I'm not saying anyone gives a shit, but I'm like, when you look at someone, do you like? Can you tell
Nah,
that someone's
like-
living a different life?
Like with you, the thing is, like, you were part of the group of kids where like everyone just knew you were gonna do something after you leave high school. You know what I mean? Like, there's some kids you know, like, okay, that kid is gonna do
Really?
something different. Like when I look at you, and then I look at like no, like,
The amount of time. Sorry.
the last like minute of class, no one waited for the bell. No one even had that final message. Or it was hype.
Really?
It was literally like
Wow.
bell, like the bell came. All right, bet we out.
Everybody just
It was
did.
like that.
Everybody was out, bro, because we
Wow.
were tight, bro. Like for me, you know, I used to rep SRB, like,
Oh
I was
yeah. Oh
feeling the
yeah. I
song.
Oh,
know
you were
bro.
done.
bro. when that school, like, that last bell hit, I was like, yo, how can I get out of this school as fast as I can?
You know what? No, I actually know that because I hit up somebody from your grade to try to do like a poster sale on SRB, and I definitely got the vibe that like they were like out of energy. They're like, yo, because I'm like, oh, you're part of this club, so like this could be mutual beneficial for your club. And I got the energy that they got the resume certificate. Their teacher gave them the reference, like it's done.
Wow.
Like they're just carrying out their last events now.
Yeah.
So
That, bro, we had such a great time. That's why I'm saying we might have the SRB Mafia.
that's the thing. We were
happy and
everybody was running shit just for the fun of it. Like I feel like not that many people were really trying to get like those resume.
You really didn't
things.
have that. You
Bro,
really didn't have that.
SRB ended when you guys left.
Wow. Chadsy was saying the same thing, but I
Like,
didn't really.
it was serious, bro. And I'm trying to like figure out next year, cause like there's still like me, like a couple people trying to still like run shit.
Of course.
Bro, next year it's funny for me to see, cause I'm like,
Yeah.
now y'all go. Yeah, of course. Yeah, we did.
I was actually wondering the same question. Yeah. He asked
Yeah.
if Hadi asked if there were you guys have exams
Well,
this year.
okay, that's kind of
Yo,
the reason.
people,
Too,
yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Cause
You're right.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because after you go to university, like once you go 1 year up, like if you go back to having like exams, like people will still be chilling because it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
yeah,
Yeah.
Because like they would have splits between like their lives. But I
Mhm.
guess like if you're in grade 12 and you have exams, especially after not having exams, like everybody would be so stressed.
yeah. Well, I
So-
mean, bro, I was chilling.
No, my first exams for university, I
I
actually
knew he was
like-
already
yeah,
into.
bro, I
uni.
was chilling.
No, I actually wish I was panicked because my first exams university, bro, that was crazy.
You know
that
what's
was
crazy?
crazy.
I slept in my law exam. Like, cause the way it
Yo,
worked.
again, like from this perspective, it's like thinking about like high school law. I'm like, I could learn that class in like a week.
Exactly,
Yeah.
that's what I'm
Like-
saying, bro. Like I just slept in. Like I.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
Yo,
I
it
was
changes though.
Like law,
changes.
yeah.
It didn't change for me,
I
bro.
know.
You don't understand. It changes.
But like the thing is though, I kind of already had like a feel of university, cause
Yeah.
I did like 2 years in one.
Yes.
So
Right,
for me, it's like I
right.
had like that accelerated.
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And that still felt too easy, bro. Like the teachers, like, bro, you take law, literally like some days I wouldn't even like do any of the research at home. On
Yo.
the bus, I literally just read.
It probably won't change, honestly. Like if you feel that way right now, it probably
Yo,
won't
UFT
change.
it might.
Nah,
if
it
you went
will,
to, if
bro.
you went to Ottawa, it
Nah,
wins.
here's the thing. I think the only thing is the biggest issue is just time management. Because I think your abilities scale, especially as we
Yeah.
grow older. We'll be a lot more capable of learning these things faster. It's just that you got to be able to manage your time. And the only
Yeah.
thing that happened to me was just like I still had my time management habits from high school, which was never study. Like I didn't
Yeah.
study
I feel
once,
you, I
bro.
feel you, bro.
Dude, like I was just chilling. Like when I'd come home,
Yeah.
I'd take a fat nap. I'd be like,
Yo, and
I'd
what we're
wake up.
saying is this point of like just being like a little bit ahead of your cohort, and then you essentially fly because your
Yeah.
circumstances are placed in order to support your cohort generally. So, for example, you're talking about you got the skills, so your skills are somewhat ahead of your cohort. But the thing is, at the same time, skills are tested. But time management, I feel like, is just
yeah.
it's generally purely how far ahead of you are of your cohort. Because
Yeah.
like John and I have been going to like 9 to 5 jobs, and we see people of all ages. And the thing that I notice is adults just have one of the main differences with adults is that they have such better time management
Yeah.
than like kids and teens and adolescents and like young adults. They have such better time
Yes.
management just because the responsibilities have been putting on them.
Yeah.
So they naturally get this shift. And that's the same thing. Like when people go to university, they come back, they're like, yo, I just had to get better time management because in high school I didn't study.
Yeah.
So if you're just a little bit ahead of the cohort where you force yourself to have better time management before you are completely forced to, before you have like responsibilities piling up to force that, you'll fly. You'll still fly.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Because like when I like for example I went to Laurier Business School, it's really light. It's really light. Literally like people have this most people have this motive like they don't study on weekends. Like they try to finish all their work by like Friday night. That's
Bro,
yeah, and that's actually
they
probably
party,
most of the
and they
you
party
university.
know
on the
my
weekend.
schedule's
Party.
like?
Yeah, you showed me.
Yeah, bro.
So for me it was like super easy to like fall back into the
Yeah.
expectations. And then like you reach deadlines. But like under these circumstances, it's so light to just go a little bit ahead and make it seem like you're flying past these deadlines.
Yeah.
Including you can tell me about your schedule, but including in your case, there will always be that second year who like has better time management than you just because they have a bit of a flatter schedule. If you act like that second year with your own schedule,
Yeah.
you're still gonna have that little gap there.
No, but that's the point as well. Like you know, a lot of people, and this is just in general, not even just in terms of time management, but a lot of conversations that I have with kids our age, and even on TikTok, the culture is always like trying to be better than your cohort.
Yeah.
And what I think the perspective should be actually is that you need to outclass everybody.
Yeah, I
Like
that.
everybody,
Just
because
everyone.
if you focus too much on your cohort, you'll get really comfortable, and it
Yeah.
happens with me as well. Like back in the day in high school, like I'd be like, oh, I'm flying, I'm better than these kids. But
Yeah.
you know,
Really?
when you come to places where you need to be
Yeah.
humbled, you get humbled
Yeah.
really hard because you're like, oh, I thought it was the
That's when
shit.
you start feel like an imposter amongst.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you strive for the best, like if you look at like how these other people manage their time, like you look at Elon, bro, he's working 180-hour weeks. I'm like, how am I not doing? Like, what am
Bro,
I doing?
That's also why I love LinkedIn. Like I know like most people
Mm.
hate it because it
Yo,
brings
everybody's
it's, like,
flexing up. You're like, you see
yeah,
the
like
comp.
everyone uses LinkedIn to like boost their own ego, and like every time I go on LinkedIn, I see these kids like, oh, what are they doing, bro? What?
Yeah,
are they
what,
doing?
what's that?
What are
What's
they
that
doing?"
Harvard kid from like the singing thing that everybody? Have you guys seen that?
What?
No.
No.
Okay, this was like a pretty big meme where there was this like singing show like a cappella
Mm.
where like all universities have a cappella groups,
Right.
but there was this like really popular one posted from Harvard University, and you saw
Right.
this one freshman who was like the main singer in the a cappella group. And the thing is, afterwards, like people would, like go on his Instagram profile, LinkedIn profile, and then I forget what his name was, but he also had this like fairly like Asian name.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like he acted like pretty like he was like ingrained into the local culture. So basically, he was basically like that guy that your mom wants you to be.
Yeah.
He's like that guy that like your girl left you for, right? Like
Yeah.
because he was perfect across like he was like
The guy
like,
your
perfect-
girl tells you not to worry
right,
about.
right. Yeah. He,
He's
and
just-
then
he's gay.
everybody, and
He's
then
my
afterwards, like
friend.
everybody would come and be like, yo, like they'd be like have these accomplishments and shit, but it's like, yo, but it's not like
Yeah.
it's not like him.
It's not like him.
So he was like, he's him,
Yeah.
right? Like he had it
Bro.
across the board, and he was just like 18.
That's
Like,
what
I'm
you gotta
gonna-
try to
I'm
be,
gonna,
bro.
I don't know if this is allowed. I'm gonna shout out one guy on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
His
sure.
name is
Okay.
Okezwe Bell.
You don't have to censor the names.
Oh,
when they're
yo,
shouting them out.
yeah.
What did
Bro,
you say? What'd you say?
Okezwe Bell.
Okay, who's fucked?
So
Who's
I
that?
follow. I connected with him on LinkedIn. Like
Really?
Over
Where is he
like
from?
a year ago or so.
Who is
He's,
he? Who is he?
Virginia.
Okay.
Who is he?
He's. I'll come to that in a minute.
He's a
So,
top TKS
like,
man.
Yeah. So when I like got into TKS, like I was telling you. And
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So that's when I found him, and like this kid is like a genius. Like for example, like he's a researcher at MIT,
How old is he?
Stanford. He's my age.
Ah.
Like
Yeah, he's-
researcher at
he's
MIT.
your cohort,
He
yeah.
started like a cybersecurity banking firm. He speaks at the UN, gives conferences like every single year, wins all these awards. And like you know how there's an award like category and on like LinkedIn where you list individual awards? He had so many that he started, instead of listing the name, he listed the category. So like he'll be like
Oh wow.
humanitarian award,
Wow.
academic award, musical award, and under each
Oh.
you'll see 20.
He's a master of many things. Yo, yo, real quick, I'm gonna pause here and shout out Mike, because the thing is, Mike, by saying his awards, you actually, because it's funny, because I know him, but I was not like aware of like how good he is.
Yeah.
No, I was aware, but like not like immediately.
Yeah.
And now by actually mentioning that, you made me realize that that's actually a thing that I'm gonna do, where I need to be like on LinkedIn more,
Yeah.
checking out the competition more, because I've actually like a little, not like blindsided, but I forgot that it's like that out here.
Yeah.
So, yo, shout out to Mike for being the first ever person on Motive. Out of y'all guests, he's the first ever person to actually make me like have an action item in my head where I'm actually start doing something.
Wow.
Like all of you guys said a lot of stuff, and I was like, that's cool.
But
So yeah, shout out to Mike for being the first ever guy on this podcast where I'm actually gonna take something that he said and like implement that in my life on the daily.
and like
so.
you know what the funny thing is with Okezwe, like because every single university wants him like to attend their university because
Right, they
he's
all know
essentially
him.
doing research for the top universities already.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you know where like you say like, oh, I got admitted into Stanford. Nah, he said Okezwe Bell accepted Stanford or some. Wait, let me find it. It was some crazy
Wow.
thing like Stanford University got accepted by Okezwe Bell or something like that.
So like, yo, it's like graphics, bro.
Yo,
It's like
he's
it's like the
Stanford University
NFL,
said,
man.
okay, so this undergrad accepted us.
He literally
Holy
flipped the
shit.
narrative.
Bro. Oh yeah, like he flipped the narrative like that.
Yeah.
There's no way they actually posted that. There's no way they
It was
actually
on
posted
his
that.
LinkedIn, bro. Like I'm trying to.
There's no way they actually posted that.
I'm looking for it right now.
Bro, how is the university gonna
no,
actually
not the
be in that
university
position?
that posted that is him. Like on his LinkedIn page.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
No,
that
no, no.
egoist type shit. That's
Well,
the blue
but
lock
he
type
has,
shit,
He has
man.
the right to do that.
Oh, of course, of
Like,
course.
Those are the kind of students where it's like the youngest, like to like be on like all those boards, like UN, like
Yeah,
those
yeah.
scientific
Yeah.
like, panels, and he does everything. Like I thought I was like good at like writing philosophy, and then I open this and I see, oh, this guy is also a writer.
Yeah, it's like it's
I'm like,
over.
I used to think like I could like be good at like research and blah blah.
Right,
blah, blah. I
right.
see this guy like start like this like robotic arm, blah blah.
Yeah.
Like,
And,
Yeah.
and that stuff wakes you
what is
up
he doing?
so hard.
It
man.
wakes me up so fast.
No, it makes me
Yo,
realize.
I wonder
like,
how he does
I'm
so many
unfocused.
different disciplines at the same
I know.
time.
No, but think about it. It's just the timeline, bro. Like you
Really?
have 5 years. Like you start doing it in 5 years or maybe 7 years.
Yeah,
and you're just
yeah.
always like surrounded by.
yeah, not to
grinding shit.
discredit. I know that you've been at this for like 10, 15 plus
Oh, of
years.
course, but like they're obviously probably geniuses as well. But like,
Yeah.
think about it, bro. Like in reality, we probably started actually building shit like this year.
Yeah.
No, I've been building for a while, but like the rate is just not there.
Well, no, but like think about think about like the shit that we actually publish and that we actually put out there, and then
Yeah, I don't
the quality
publish
of
much,
the
yeah.
work and the actual progression of
Okay.
the action that we've taken.
I found it.
Oh,
Can I
let's-
just
let's-
read
yeah,
it?
let's see. Let's see.
Yeah,
let's see.
Congratulations to Stanford University on being accepted by kids with now.
Wow.
Now, I made a mistake. It wasn't even him that posted that. It was the Moravian Academy, which is the institution that he used to go to, which is a really high, like I think, private
Okay.
like academy.
Wow.
And they like won like
Where is
debate
that?
Oh,
competitions. Virginia. So they won like
Mm.
debate competitions. Like they're good.
Okay,
like,
so the school was flexing for him.
the school was flexing on
Yeah.
his behalf, and he simply reposted it. He didn't even say
Wow.
comment on it. He just, oh yeah, let me repost that.
That's where like I get a lot of my fire when I
That's
look at
actually
it's actually
crazy.
specifically LinkedIn posts. I'm glad you mentioned
That's
that because there's
ridiculous.
one guy. His name is
You're
Devinder Sarai. Yeah, Devinder
Devinder,
Sarai went
yeah,
to West
yeah.
Carleton. He's he like bro. He had like all these awards in cross country. I'd seen him run before, and then this guy's like he's at Harvard University for comp sci. And I saw like his LinkedIn post. This guy did TKS as well. He has like a
Yes,
startup.
I was
He's-
gonna
he's
mention.
like a financial advisor, I think, at like IBM or something.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, like these guys have like the most stacked resumes.
Yeah.
And like they've been doing it since they were like 16, 15.
Yeah.
And it just made me realize like, bro, like I was like such a bum not 2-3 years ago, which was like it's not like well, it actually like brings me down. I'm like, damn, like how could I have let all that time pass?
Yeah,
and now
but
I want to iterate so
yeah.
much harder.
But
bro.
at the same time, you have to be cautious of when you like get on LinkedIn. Like when you you start like
Yeah.
figuring these things out. Because imagine you're a 14-year-old and you get on LinkedIn and now you start
Yeah.
seeing all these like people so.
Yeah, I was on LinkedIn at 14.
At 14 is crazy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I found it when I was around 16, I think. Like,
Okay, that's a
when
good time. That's a good time.
Dude, I found
Yeah.
LinkedIn like last year, bro.
Yo, John, to be honest, it's funny. You always like find these things, and I always forget. Like for example, like you found LinkedIn last year. For some reason in my head, I feel like you've been a software engineer like your whole life.
Yeah.
Like to be honest.
No, that's the thing though. Like that's crazy. Like I literally changed it like 1 year, but that's how
Yeah.
much you have to iterate because if you don't have that time scale, like
Yeah.
you gotta realize, bro. Like people have been coding since they were like 15. Like,
Yeah.
bro, that's why I had to grind. That's why I had to do all this shit because, bro, like I'm not even close enough, and they're like way ahead. And like the people in my nearest connections at Ottawa, like they've been coding their whole life, and they're still leaps and bounds ahead of me. And you can just see like it's so much more intuitive.
Yeah.
And stuff
Right.
like that. I mean, it's very few people. Shout out to
Yeah,
Daniel
very
Thorpe
few.
and a million great developers, incredible people.
This guy.
But like, yo, like, if I had just started earlier, and if it's just, there's always cadence, and you should. I'm not saying I'm dwelling on it, but it's just a realization that if I had
Yeah.
started earlier, think of where I would have been now. Because
Uh-huh.
because high school was not just like high school. Like those are like genuine years that if I had put the time in, I could have been far more along than I am.
I
right
thought you were
now.
on that in high school, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I actually forget.
I was like,
Well,
I was
he kind of
kinda
was,
on it.
but relative to the people in our
Okay.
class.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. You look around, like it's like we talked about, bro. The expectations were pretty low anyway.
Yeah,
you don't
like,
see the top G's.
Bro, SRB, like, okay, this year we had 740 kids. Like, I know that because of data management.
Mm.
So, out of those 740 kids, I could confidently say I'm somewhere in the top 10, right?
Yo, you're
It's
probably
like-
top one.
No, cause
Top
like,
top
yeah,
top
valedictorian.
one.
So now, like, I look at, like, I'm like, okay, I have a nice resume, and then I start building my LinkedIn profile, and now I look at other kids, and now I'm talking to other people, and then I fall on like random kids from West Carleton going to Harvard.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, like, cause I was on the drive to Kingston for a rugby game, and the lady who was driving with me, she's a teacher at West Carleton. And she was talking about a guy named Anton, and this guy's going to Harvard next year.
Wow.
Congrats.
Yeah, congrats,
West Carleton
bro. And, like,
pipeline, man.
and
That's
so
crazy.
I'm like, okay, like that's
Oh, yeah.
one. Like
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even think like Canadian students going to Harvard like that,
yeah.
because we're classified
so
as
true.
international students, right? And
Yeah.
then I go on Instagram and I see kids from like random like high schools, like I think it was Nepean or something, like going to NYU and going to like like I'm like, how? And then I look back at myself, I'm like, okay, like at SRB I have a pretty nice resume. Like most people don't know because like most of my stuff is outside of school anyways. And then I see all those other people in the same city as me who are going to these institutions like extremely selective, like less than 5% acceptance rate.
Right.
So like at SRB, like with less than 1,000 people, like obviously we're gonna feel hot. We're like, like,
exactly.
I'm like silver medalist.
Yeah.
I'm like executive member, but like think about it, like we're not that big. Like
no, Ottawa. Genuinely, yeah, exactly. Yo, it's Ottawa. Like
it's Ottawa.
And it's so like, man, it just like every day I get put in perspective, like the greater context and how big, not to be like fucking corny, like how big this world really is. Because like when we went to Montreal, that was the first time I ever went to Montreal in my life. Gorgeous, huge.
It moves fast.
It was it moves fast. When I went to Toronto, I felt that as well.
It moves fast.
But bro, I was there and I was thinking like, this is like there's so much scale, there's so much more here, and there's so many more opportunities here, and there's also so much wealth. And I thought like it was all unattainable before, man.
No, but you know what made me realize that? Like all it took you was maybe to drive down to Montreal or whatever.
Yeah.
Bro, I really had to go to a third world country and live there for 8 months to come to that realization.
Yo, how was that? Where did you go? You went to
Togo.
Togo,
yeah, like West Africa.
What do you mean?
So before that, like I guess like I was like the kind of student that you would think is like ahead of his class. Like I was applying to TKS, got in, blah blah. But I still wasn't.
R.I.P. TKS Ottawa. Sorry to see you go.
But I still wasn't in that like mindset like that. So I went to Togo, and like first 4 months no Wi-Fi. So I'm in this random ass village, no Wi-Fi, just me and my thoughts, like books, random, like whatever. I got so bored to the point where I was just doing like math, like on my own. And then I go to like the normal city, and I'm like, okay, now I'm in the capital city, like I'm gonna see more opportunities. I don't see that many opportunities. It's either you're like really like upper class or you're struggling like everybody else.
Wow.
So now like I come back to Ottawa, and I'm like, oh, like I see all these buildings, and I'm like, every time I cross the road, I'll see these big like offices and firms, and I'm like, we have shit here in Ottawa. Like, there's so many opportunities, you can grab them and like do whatever you want. Like just this year, like I got in touch with random people. Like right now, I'm like, we're producing a mini film, and like at this age is something I was like, bro, that's never happening. Like I couldn't even imagine like randomly like reaching out to a random studio, getting in contact with random people, and then start like producing films with like other kids my age. Like that's just some, like there's so many opportunities in so many different ways that like if you really want to go at it, there's no reason you can't be successful in Canada.
No, absolutely.
Like there's you have no reason. Like people are like, oh, like I'm not from a wealthy family. Like I'm not from a wealthy family.
Yo,
like
yes,
you know where I live. Like you know
we were just there.
We came. I came from the projects, bro. We came from Rockaway, man.
Like probably like an emergency like housing, bro. Like it's not even like you don't have to be rich.
Oh,
so that's why like I come back and I see the kids from like SRB, not to shit on SRB, but like I see them like all they do is their night. Such a good.
Yo, I see the kids from SRB. All they do is I'm like trying to hear what you're about to say. Their night. I'm like yeah. You're right.
And like really bad like bush parties, and like there's nothing.
Bro, why is like their night Loki the highlight though? Like,
and like it got to the point where I started trying to think of random things, like even the Black History Month assembly. I was like, okay, let me bring in like a guest speaker. Let me just make it fun. Like, cause the previous years it's always Niger just like dancing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we made like a food potluck that was a bit different. Like we got a cultural potluck this time, cause we're not trying to eat hot dogs.
Yo, you should have hit me up. I would have eaten. I would have pulled up.
So I was like, okay, like let's
it's about
work
the cause,
with the
John.
Global Youth Club. Let's have food, bro. You should have seen the line. Like people wanted the food.
Yeah.
And then I even got the school to pay for like the black. Like, when it was Juneteenth, I was like, yo, y'all got fundings? Bet. we need $200 for food.
Right.
So now they gave us $200 for Juneteenth. Like we took room for lunch. We literally just hosted our own like potluck for black kids. Like
That's
right
you
on.
know, like, and then we made them like pay for our hoodies. Like I designed hoodies, extremely nice hoodies, bro. I have to
Yo, let's
show
see
you.
it. Yo, you're little artist, man.
Yeah, bro. They were like $60 and subsidized by the school. It was $20, and if you didn't have the money, they would pay for it fully. So
that's
it's like,
dope.
Oh, bro, congrats. Good shit. Good shit.
I just
No,
found
that's actually really
random
great,
ways
man.
to,
That's
like,
actually
get
fire.
the school to do what we want. You know what I mean?
No, yo, we were
But
talking
the thing
about
is,
this
you
before.
let me just highlight that despite where you rank,
Yeah.
you created some impact in
That's
in
the
your
back?
specific community.
Oh shit!
Hold on, like, that's the back, right?
Oh,
Let
what?
me show you the front.
Those
bro.
look hella nice.
Let me show you the front. Like you don't
Yeah,
even.
you show me the
Yo,
back.
send
There's
those-
more. There's
You don't
more.
even understand. Like
Oh shit!
At
That's
least
we got our names on it.
Wow. Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
yo, those are so nice.
But this is what we talked before.
See,
where,
but
where
really,
the-
like, shout out to you for making that happen. Especially in terms of when it came to the funding, you made that happen as well.
Mhm.
Like, yo, that thing is, despite whatever your goals are,
Yeah.
like, that's. Do you know what I mean? When I mean, like, you
Yeah.
created that. Like, that is meaningful just in itself. You know, like that's something different. Like, I respect that.
And I never doubted that within you, bro.
Bro.
Like as you were saying earlier, bro, you saying like there's a class of people, man, and like I obviously associated you with that, man, because you were always on that grind. You were always talking about that. And that's a really interesting thing in terms of what makes these people different. Students like you, where you see just the bigger picture. You just see forward. And not a lot of people do that, and that's why they become incredibly hedonistic. But we were also talking about this earlier, where we were saying like a lot of these students like don't fight the power in terms of like you were saying with AV crew with Mr.
Yeah, it's
But-
just, I was gonna ask you, what do you think struck it in you, and then you gave the example, which was actually like pretty profound, where you talked about coming from Togo back to Ottawa, and you got some perspective there, and then, for me, it was always just like such a I can't really pinpoint exactly what it was. I know there's a ton of moments that led to it, but it was always such a drive of just like why let's see if I can make it happen. Like why not?
Yeah.
And the thing is, I always mention this is that for example, that's a great example of stuff that is like super niche because only I gave a shit about it. But again, like there was something that I was interested in for whatever reason that was different than what most people are interested in. But just in that niche, I was like, well, why not try to make it happen? It's just like having a little bit of care, you know?
Yeah.
This is what we were
And
talking about
it's
earlier.
just that little bit of care.
This is what we talked about earlier with research, man. We talk about we were in the
Yes.
car. We were talking about how like the public sector is just uninspired. And that's why they don't produce or iterate as much because they don't have meaning in their work. And once you care about something as much as you did, especially in your school, of course you earn the right to be the valedictorian. Of course you earn the right to leverage the school's resources to make good things happen because people see that. People see the genuineness. And you know, partly why I actually get so inspired by these kids on LinkedIn is because I can see the authenticity through their work. You can see through the fake shit.
Yeah.
Like you can see like, oh, that's a fake post. And
Yes,
even
yeah.
sometimes some people like, you know, who are genuine, they post some fake shit.
You can see they truly give a shit.
Exactly. You can see at the end of the day, like they're geniuses. They
Yeah.
are real geniuses. And I definitely think that you become a genius. You're not.
Yeah, you
like,
can
you're-
develop that.
Yes, you
Yeah.
develop it through your experiences, man. Like it's sort of these like genius moments that have you really reflect on what you want to do and give you that sort of why to fight for something that you really care about. And you're like once you go to university, like this is my personal experience, but you're going to see that like still a lot of people don't see that, but the niche group of people who you do see, you will stay with them as much as you can, and you'll just try to hang out with them and look for those people. And those people who really do give a shit, they will also give a shit about helping you and making you into a
that's
better
what
person.
I realized. Like,
Yeah.
like
There's
smart people.
There's a brotherhood, man.
Yeah.
There's a brotherhood. There's a brotherhood with people who know. Brotherhood people who understand.
But like, while we say that though, I find it to be a shame because when you think of like that group of people, you'll never see them end up in the public sector. And like the reason for that is like there's no like incentive to like do that.
Yeah.
Like for me, for example, like I don't think about like using my experience like once I have it or like my knowledge to go help the government of Canada. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and where I can to like maximize like my potential
Yes.
as much as I can. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I can't do that. Like,
Like it just
Yeah.
doesn't. The government.
This is
or
some real like might line of thought. Like
Yeah.
if I ever heard that like in writing, I'd be like, yo, Might wrote that.
yeah,
but
like,
you're
this
so
is-
you're
this
so
is- this
right.
is your
Like the
case,
public
yeah.
sector, like it even like it restricts you from even
restricts
producing
you,
any
yeah.
value. Like I can't contribute to the world in the public sector as it stands
Exactly.
right now. I want to be able to make immense value, and it's crazy. Like the perception is like, oh, the capitalistic system is corrupt and AIDS, and like of course
of
you
course
know
it is. It's human
of
nature.
course there is, but like it's also the best way that we have to deploy immense value at scale. Like like if something's valuable, you're gonna get paid for it, and that is
At
where
the very
incentive
least,
is-
typically
incentivization exists.
typically like the value that has to come through government comes through a partnership with the private sector. So I don't remember the last time there was
Yeah.
genuinely. I don't remember the last time there was genuinely like a major value thing that the government put out.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, like, that's extremely sad because it's like that's where like in my opinion that's where all the like the knowledge should be like stored. Like that's where everyone should want to be. Like
yeah.
the government, which represents the people, should be the one place where you have
Right.
like the most intellectuals and like the highest level of education, the highest level.
Why
of,
is
like-
that?
because in my opinion the government should be the leader of the society. Like it should be the example that everyone like
Yes.
looks
Yes.
up to,
It should be the highest
the highest standard.
point. You're right, because if government was the best example, which is what I think a lot of like down to earth adults were saying back in like 2016, like Donald Trump era, right? Their whole case was no matter like what it is politically, like how do you explain this to your children
Yeah.
when they, and like my mom was saying, well, how do I explain to my students in middle school that during your debates you can't like attack your opponent when this is what they see on the presidential stage. So same thing, it makes sense if government, as it should be,
Mhm.
is like the epitome of what good humanity is, then the best humans would actually want to work there. I never thought about that.
And like that's something else I realized like going to third world country, because like it's true that there's not much we can learn from there because we are already like developed to be a society that's like pretty
Mhm.
high up. But one thing that I noticed is the brightest individuals in those countries all strive to be a part of the government. And like the reason for that is because of the corruption, they have access to the funding that they want or that they
Mhm.
need, which is why it like they all go there because now they
Can you explain
maximize.
that?
So like for example, anyone like into politics, for example, or like
Right.
they have access to the money because of corruption.
Okay.
So if there's something they want, like
Oh,
if,
there's something they
or
want.
if
They
want
can.
their kid to have the highest level of education, or they really want to do research, they can just grab that money basically.
Yeah, that was actually my question. Why do the smartest people want to go to the government? Is it because they have the most opportunity to make change, or it's because
Well, both, because you
Right.
can make
Yeah,
change
yeah.
and
Okay,
you can
okay.
also satisfy yourself. So
yes, yes.
what like
Whereas, interestingly, in in the West, on both counts, it's better to go to the private sector, even if you want to profit yourself. I mean, until you're like a billionaire, the government can't really offer you much.
exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like because obviously like every time you have like a genius, there's always like those people who realize they're geniuses and then start like seeing like how can I exploit everyone else. But then there's gonna be those geniuses who like genuinely want to help. But like in both ways, in the third world countries, you're gonna go where the resources are, and that's
Right.
Yes.
all like the government has control over
That's
that.
the biggest
Whereas
point.
here, because the private sector has such like control basically over innovation, it's like everyone just goes there and no one cares to go
Yes,
to
the government doesn't have the same access to resources. We have a culture of give me the least taxation possible. That's probably the important thing on every ballot
I
ever.
think we're
is
borderlining
how
a
low taxes.
conversation of diving into socialism, which is kind
Well,
of
yeah, that's what I.
but what
Well, that's why
I would actually
that's why, as you know, like this has no way of playing out in a
oh
capitalistic
yeah
society,
exactly
because as I said, the most important issue on any ballot is which one's going to give the lower taxes. I mean, that's how probably most people vote.
I mean like when I the thing is though, like I see the kind of utopia that you imagine, and I envision that.
No,
But it's not a utopia.
The thing is, though,
It exists where the government is corrupt.
yeah, but the
No,
thing
but I'm saying
is-
like in Ottawa in that form.
yeah,
like,
but I don't want that kind of society because at the end of the day,
yeah,
I'm still gonna fend for myself. So because I understand human nature and how chaotic it is, I'm not gonna expect some sort of utopia that that's just never gonna happen. So the way I'm gonna adapt to that is by going to the private sector. And
Yeah,
of course.
Yo, I wouldn't expect any other than you to still when you're talking about society. I know you're still not trying to apply that to yourself, but
We're not gonna be
I really
Sisyphus
agree with what you're saying. I mean, I'm the least kind of geopolitically educated person to ever live, but my family's from Russia, and just like overhearing conversations and stuff throughout my life, I also know too that every single time that they have something like better on some sort of front in Russia, whether it's like quicker access to like certain kind of healthcare or like something like that, like it's always because through some endpoint you always tie down to the government is corrupt. Like I don't know how that works. Again, I'm super like uneducated on this, but like again, we're talking about like a country that is very corrupt relative to like how the West runs itself, and yeah, like every time that something runs much better there, you always bring it back to that.
But the thing about it, like in a lot of these places, like people want to provide value because there's real suffering happening, and directly in these countries where the services aren't to the same par as like here in the West, obviously you want to go help where the suffering is.
Where there is an authoritarian government, the authoritarian government has to not piss off its people.
Yes, of course.
Where there is a democratic government, they can just get more money.
But nonetheless,
like
they're still suffering. And if I was in those situations, if I wanted to do good, the first thing that come to my mind would be like maybe to fix the social structures that exist here. Also tied with the resources, like,
or if you were a dictator who didn't want their people to revolt.
Of course. There's always different incentive structures, but I would say that like here, like we have pretty we have good services here, and as a result of also putting our resources, pulling it towards that, we also don't see for one direct suffering. So we don't think the government is the solution for that, because we don't actually see all the stuff that the government does on the lower levels. And then we also don't see any resources. So we not only don't believe that we can't survive, but we also can't make an impact there. And that's where you see a lot of people feel like they lack a lot of meaning, or a lot of people try to manifest meaning out of nothing, which is those are a bunch of
those are the people that try to sound smart, but you haven't done like anything like those are people jumping at the new like technologies but don't actually understand them.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of
those the Twitter file type people, bro.
I've seen a lot of those at TKS, which is kind of what like
really
resisted, like kind of like I wasn't too interested at the beginning, like when blockchain was a thing, or like I forgot the other terms, like
NFTs.
I forget too. There was blockchain. There was AI, obviously.
Cybersecurity.
Like, yeah, I mean, we could actually, keep talking. Just out of curiosity, I'm gonna read. I don't know if I'll have access to them right now, but I'm gonna actually read all of them.
But continue.
Like,
there's like a lot.
So basically, what I found is there were these modules, and people would like learn basic like surface understanding of any subject, right? One of them was like I don't remember. It was like you could basically control like computers with your mind, like the way
brain-computer interface.
Yeah, BCIs.
Yeah. They love that one. Yeah,
they love
that one.
So they basically just like got like surface level understanding that the industry has known for years, and like they started like using it as like key terms every single time, and they just like create articles where they just like repeat what's all like already been known by experts like for years.
Yeah.
And it's those kind of people where like those are dangerous, because those people get access to like internships, and they get access to resources that the normal person wouldn't get. Like I see them work with Microsoft, Google, IBM, the UN, and like they talk about how to like leverage like leverage is a word they love to use.
Leverage, that's the word, bro.
Hey, they love
like resources.
Like I mean, TKS I think is very successful. And when it comes to those kind of things, they definitely figured out what are the right keywords to say to increase your chances of getting like a 14, 15, 16-year-old in with a company, which then obviously the company can go on the website. But I think like they basically like obviously if you have a set of students, you're going to judge it based on the set who afterwards are successful, and afterwards who are, as you're describing it. And they've definitely through that process have actually churned out. And it's not even about who they churn out. It's about like who has actually changed, like who has went from they wouldn't have, like for example, like I don't know about Okezu, but I'm guessing that like he still like would have. I mean, before he came. No, actually, I remember when he came, bro. Everybody, it was like definitely like a big win for them. But I've definitely seen like a lot of people who came in like that, and then like after a few years, like they're legit, and then they go
Yeah.
and then they go and like somebody who would have went to OU goes to Waterloo.
Yeah,
Or
like not to like.
or like
shit
somebody
on
goes to
them or
Waterloo,
anything.
goes to Harvard. Like
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like you don't need to know these things in
No,
depth,
but
bro.
the reason I like talked about them is not to shit on the
Yeah.
like the project or like.
oh yeah.
I
I
know
wasn't
it's
thinking you were. I
it's
was
a
thinking
good
you were.
project, but
Yeah.
I'm talking specifically of like that bottom percentage.
Yeah, I
of
know what
those
you mean.
people who just repeat what the top percentage of people.
they
said
play the
to make-
game.
yeah,
And they
those
only
ones are
play the
dangerous.
game. I
Those ones are
agree.
dangerous.
And it comes.
Do you think that
especially-
do you think that exists in the adult world as well?
Oh, Elizabeth Holmes.
Because I was
Most
gonna say
definitely.
Elizabeth Holmes. Elizabeth Holmes.
Mm.
I think that's a great
Facts.
example. Like it becomes fraud.
No, you're right.
Bro's
That's
dropping names.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like
no,
that.
but you're right because that was
Elizabeth. SBF, bro.
Yo, can we interview Elizabeth? I would.
No, but it's the same thing. Like Sam Bankman-Fried as well. Like the game like is played, and you can get pretty far with like doing absolutely nothing. And
His parents were well connected as fuck
Oh,
too.
of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Those are the only one that can afford to do that.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
Like
nepotism
in
type
the
shit.
adult world, you have to be from a wealthy family to play that game.
Yeah.
You can't be a low income like.
We've seen think Tinder swindler.
Yeah.
Tinders.
But the thing is, like, the thing is, you don't go so far as well. I mean, like, well,
Yeah.
SBF made billions, but like, the thing is, like, at the end of the day, you know, only you yourself are gonna know like how much you've actually contributed, and that will take a toll on anyone. Like, even like a sociopath will feel like shitty. Like, they're not gonna feel like, well, I don't know, but you're not gonna be heavily rewarded.
If your goal is to make
doing
impact,
something.
you at some point you have to make impact.
Exactly.
If your goal is to make money, it still has always catched up with you in history.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
especially in this world, in like less developed countries, if you got a well-connected family, you're good. You don't
You're
gotta do shake some hands, do the transfer, cut. You're
good.
you're done. But
But
yeah,
like,
when it comes to making impact, I mean, it's
no, absolutely.
you're either real or you're not.
And I think that's all. Like, also, like, you know, you were saying like probably like the top, like it's like the 80-20 rule. Well, the 20% of the students at TKS I think the most value to give its name for the credibility. Like, it's good to incentivize people who know how to play the game as
Yeah.
well. Like, you need
Yeah.
people who are good at making connections and socializing, who are also geniuses. And at the end of the day, you might get like people who are super geniuses, may not be incredibly sociable, and incredibly charismatic people who have no skills
And-
technically.
And I've played that
Yeah.
game too. Like,
Oh, everyone has.
like, I'm
Yo,
saying,
my,
everyone
my
has played
opinion on
the
this,
game.
which I'm guessing you'll agree. The reason I'm saying my opinion is because I know that like younger people will watch this. Is that if you start out like that, that's fine.
Yeah,
It's-
that's fine. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
actually how you
It's
start.
if you develop
You then grow into having substance,
Fake it till
Yeah.
you make it.
which
type
you then
shit.
yes, absolutely.
fake it till you make it.
And yeah, like that's 100, like that's 1,000%. You
course.
start out like that, and you grow into substance. If you
Yeah.
keep
Yes.
doing that shit, I mean,
Oh, it
you're
hits you
you're
like
you're a
that.
player, and then like damn,
got
like
it.
that's impressive.
But you have to
'cause-
be like a pathological liar. You have to lie to yourself, man. Like, you have to be like, oh yeah, like I can
Bro,
do
talking
value.
about that, that's something I started realizing. It's like you have to create an alter ego. Like, you have to create like a fake person in your mind
Mhm.
and feed that person lies and just like
Yo,
characteristics.
yeah, a lot of people use that strategy.
Like, for example, when I did like the first mock trial, like the competition or whatever, I was like, how am I supposed to win this? So I was like, okay, let me pretend like I'm some arrogant lawyer,
Mhm.
like arrogant law student
okay.
who's been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
Thinks he knows like the facts of the case inside out. So even just my demeanor, the way I walked into that, like I
Right,
literally
right.
came late that day. Like I came a few minutes late.
But you were Harvey like
We're that
that.
into
Yeah,
it.
like
You
I
were
literally-
Harvey
Okay.
Specter.
And, like,
This is what Mike means when he says creating
Like,
alter
I'm
ego.
saying,
Like he came
don't play
late.
games. Like it was at the city court, and we had this
Wow.
room, and so in that room, everybody was seated, and I just walked by, and like my team was so happy because I was doing the cross examination and closing arguments. So I was like, I was a little hot. So I was like, I came in that suit, like I came with my like briefcase, and like I was not smiling because it like my thank you. My alter ego was like, you can't be smiling to everyone. Like, I'm kind of like that jolly person that smiles to everyone, talk to everyone.
We know.
That day I'll just be like, I was just quiet, like looking forward. I wouldn't even like care about everyone around me.
Right.
When it came the time to like deliver my closing argument, I just like arrogantly delivered it.
Yeah, yo, you
And-
asserted dominance, man.
Yeah,
You
but
let him know what's up.
and like that's what you have to use in your life. Like
Yeah.
you can't, because the thing is, a lot of people have these insecurities of who they are, and you basically have to just create a fake, because it's easy to act. It's easy to like
Oh, yeah.
pretend that you're someone else.
And it makes a huge difference.
Pretend
And you don't
like you're someone
people don't notice that, but like for me, like, yo, even in the smallest things, and Like I'm hyper competitive, and even the smallest things, I always like feel like, oh, did I win or lose?
Yeah.
And it's everything. It's like the smallest things, like oh, did I win? Like, and I analyze it so clearly. Like, for example, like one that I'm willing to share. When I went rock climbing, just last week, and
Right.
I was just chilling in the rock climbing gym, and there was like a bouncy castle thing. It was like a boxing arena.
I'm not gonna beat this kid.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
There's no way these kids are gonna beat me.
But yeah, it was like something weird like that. I was like, oh, it's like a little boxing arena, but it was like you stand on 2 podiums and we
I'm
have like sticks.
19. Like they're 7.
Yo, like there's no games. There's no games. But yo, like I saw that and I was like, okay, let's play these games. And like it's just we basically have to knock each other off. Like there's 2 stands and it's a bouncy castle boxing ring. I have to hit each other
How
with,
old are
with
they?
sticks. They were my age. Oh, they're all adults. All adults. Don't worry.
I know what you're talking about in terms of objects. Like I was like,
No, I wasn't going around these kids and be like, yo, there's no play now.
Little boys.
It's over for you, kid. Yo, imagine just seeing me with a baseball bat, bro, just fucking beating these kids off the mat. It's only me. I only win.
Do you like? I don't know.
What you gotta do?
No, it was all adults. Like it's an adult rock climbing gym. But yeah, we were just like trying to knock each other on the podium stuff. Like there was like a little bit of strategy, whatever. But me, bro, I was hyper focused. I was like in my head, I was like, okay, like how can I like block him at the same time and then push him off? And I learned like the technique as fast as I could. And it was a tournament. And like even though like it was just for fun and I was rock climbing at the same time, like I was still super competitive. But towards the end, like I was kind of like, yeah, this is chill, like this is fun. Like I didn't take it seriously enough, and like I didn't even take it that seriously the whole time.
Right.
And then when I got to like the finals, which I was so surprised that I got to the finals because there's some big mans. But once we got to like the finals, man, like this one guy, he's the guy who took it all. He was he started off with like the thing on my chest. Like he started off with like the rod. Like usually we start like this and then we go and try to push each other off. But he was like he started it like stabbing me. And like I was like, oh, like what?
That's an
what am I
analogy
supposed
for
to do?
life, though. Like
Yeah.
you can really think about that. Like
Yes.
like you see like all those like they try and portray like being competitive as a bad thing. Like when you're like over competitive, they'd be like, oh, you're too competitive. But like
But they just hate that you
but, like,
win.
if you look at the people who made it far in life, like
Yes.
they're all competitive, like in some way. Like
As
they
fuck.
don't like
They have the
losing.
dog in them. They have
And-
Goggins.
And like the way that he just placed it right in front of you is kind of
Yeah.
you can kind of like use that as like a like an analogy for life.
No,
like
absolutely.
you want to take every small step like in front of everyone that you want to. Who wants to start at the same line as everyone else?
Exactly.
Like if you look at like for example like politicians, like sometimes we're mad because they were wealthy, they came from a wealthy family, or we look at those Asian kids were mad because they had tutors and like they like their parents like pushed them early on. But like the people who made it successfully are the people who took that advantage when
Yes.
they could.
Exactly.
The one who
Absolutely.
maximized the opportunities and the one
Exactly.
who created their own luck.
You're
Like
so
people
right.
are like, oh, you're lucky you had all this, and it's like, nah, like I created my
Yeah.
own luck. Like
There's some people who are this rich and they're on
Yeah.
drugs right now.
exactly, like he like it wasn't like you had a choice to like hold it like this. You did it
Yeah.
out of like respect or 'cause
I could have fought back.
you could've
but, like,
done-
yo,
you
he
could have
was
done the same thing.
Okay, I see what you mean. Now you said the last part. I see what you mean. Okay, yeah. Like he was. Yeah, yeah.
Oh shit! Like what do I do? And I immediately I was like, oh, like should I play hard?
That's ironic.
Yeah.
And
That
I hesitated.
that's ironic.
Exactly.
I hesitated because I
Yeah.
was standing like this, and he had it right against me, and he was ready
He
to
was
win.
ready.
Right.
And I was like, oh shit, like what do I do? Like maybe I should play nice. And I was like, oh fuck. So I tried to, but like I wasn't fast enough. That second of hesitation, I wasn't trying to eat.
Right.
Exactly.
He knocked me over and he won. Like I was like, oh fuck.
Ironic.
And-
The guy at the finals was the one who happened to be so competitive when
Yeah.
up until that moment everybody was uncompetitive. So you're like, okay, I'm gonna chill.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And
exactly.
also like the other guy who came second, he was like he saw that and he played again. Like he also had an incredible maneuver where the guy started like this again against him, and he like when they started, he weaved, grabbed it, pulled it away, and then he pushed him with his hand. He pushed him with a hand. He went like boom, and then he fell over. He still came second because the other guy was just demon. Like he just won. But like I couldn't stop thinking about that. Like I went home and I was just thinking like, and it's always that like slight hesitation when I'm just like I didn't give it my all, and I just think about it over and over again. The way I react, I just think, holy shit! Like if that was a really tough scenario, I would have made the bad call. I would have made the wrong
Yeah, if
call.
that was an important outcome
Yeah.
scenario.
Exactly. And I always think about that.
Imagine it was like an actual island game, like Squid
Yeah.
Game or something. Like,
But the thing is, though,
imagine-
I'm confident in myself. If that was the case, though, I would not let that shit slide. Because Andrew and I
Nah,
talk
but-
about this all the time, where like there's a state where you get into it. It's like a flow state, man, and that's like, yo, like it's over, man.
But I low-key disagree with that though, because I feel
Really?
like okay, if you were in that state, it would amplify like the way you think, but it would do that for everyone else. So like in that
right.
situation,
yeah.
you would be like even more aware, but that guy would be even
Oh
more
yes,
competitive.
and that's exactly where I take it so hard because it's like, you know, if I just like I can't have any mistakes,
yeah,
and that's what I realize when it comes to the top of the top people, like the billionaires, like Mark Zuckerberg and Elon. The steps that they made along the way, sure, they've had failures,
yeah.
but at the end of the day, every step they took put them forward,
Mhm.
and they just kept going forward. And like there's no time for error. There's no room for error in the short lifespan that we have to contribute. There's no way that I could let hesitation slide. Like even when we were at Pitbull and you were so hard pushing through, like there's part of me that I kept having to like tell me to stop because I was like, oh, I feel bad for running through these people. Like I felt bad. And obviously, you know, like I was trying to hold back, but I also knew that like yeah, and you kept pushing forward. I was like, bro, like if we had stopped like fully, if I even let myself like fully say, you know, Andrew, we're good here. If I
No, we literally think the
settle with
same.
that?
We're actually, because the thing is, I was also thinking about it. I was,
Yeah.
of course, when we were pushing through, I was also thinking about
Yes,
it on a
yes.
philosophical level. Like, you know what I'm saying, bro? I was literally questioning myself. I'm like, I was thinking about it on such a philosophical level. I'm like,
Yes.
yo, how does this apply to this,
Yes.
this? And then I'm like, you know, should I be analyzing this like this deeply? Like, we're just trying
No,
to see
but
a
you
concept.
have to,
I was
bro.
literally thinking about it on so many different levels. I was like, every time I hesitated, I was like, I don't have it in me, man. I don't have it in me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I was
bro.
like, fuck, man. Like, I was so sad. I'm like, Andrew, you're not gonna be successful in life.
Yes,
I'm
that's what I was
like,
thinking,
I'm like, if
bro.
I don't get to the front of the stage, then I will never be successful in
Yeah.
life.
And we
you know?
made it to the front, man. We made it to the front, man.
These kids were here.
God did. God did.
God.
And they,
Yo, that's the funny thing is though, because I didn't take this like egotistically, because I wanted to get to the front anyway, so I don't really care.
of course.
But it's so weird because so many of these kids, they were like tall as fuck too and shit, and they're like, the thing is, the only reason that they didn't join us is because they just didn't think we would make it. Like generally, like there were some people who like, there was some people just like
that's
side,
also
side
metaphor,
tangent,
bro.
side tangent.
That's
There were some people,
metaphor,
there were
bro.
bare people, especially like older, who were like generally pissed off at us.
Oh yeah.
Which like
shout
fair,
out
fair enough.
to that lady, that
Fair enough.
40-year-old
If I was in
mother.
your position, I'd also be pissed off at me. But there were some people who were genuinely like the sole reason that they didn't help us, which in like a mutually beneficial way, the sole reason was genuinely not because they were mad, not because they were like love the spot they were in. They just generally were like good
not
luck,
gonna
bro.
happen.
I'm like
Yeah.
yo, like give me your Snapchat. I'll literally
And
send you a snap from the front.
And
Like,
that was the majority.
because I was
bro.
like no, like I'm telling, like I like look behind
Yeah.
you. I was there. Like I promise you, if you join us right now,
Yeah.
is gonna speed us up, and you and your girl will also have like such a better show. I'm like think about it.
Exactly.
I'm like trying to sell it. I'm like, yo,
Wait,
think about it when
so
all the lights are off and
Explain
shit.
to me this operation because the way I
Oh,
thought about it
it's
is like I thought you just walked.
Nah, bro.
No,
so-
so
yo,
yo, there's
it's
so
like
much
if you're in a
strategy,
show
bro.
and there's like a lot of people,
Yeah.
and like you have to like kind of like butt through them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking
You have
about?
to push
yeah.
them aside, essentially.
Yeah,
The thing
yeah.
is with this is like, especially with the crowd, which was like huge, it was like 50,000 people.
Yeah.
It's like diffusion, man. Like you move, the spot you were there in the back fills up so fast. Like it just
see.
pulls in. Like there's no room. So it's like really tight here. And like what we like the biggest moves we made was when like we had to think about it, like what's the best way we can do it, because we were trying to push in and some people would really fight
See,
back.
they were strategic
Oh
with
yeah.
it. Like,
No, but what we did, it was so good, bro. I was like, yo, Andrew, once they start like jumping and bumping, that's
where
what
you
move.
go.
I will say that, yeah, actually, your thing, like, the thing is, I kind of cringe at us for like talking about it in this way, but like, I will just like generally like going just forward was not.
No, yeah.
Like, there's some concerts where you just go forward, but like it was not working. So like when you when you like told me a few times that like it actually did work.
Yeah.
Like.
And that's that like this is and you know, like it's
The
crazy.
funny thing is, I was also thinking about it, like,
No,
yo,
I know you
Andrew,
were thinking
figure
about
out like a logical way to get this done.
You know what I was thinking though? I was thinking like, yo, we would be perfect fucking co-founders, bro. Because like, yo, you were pushing in this scenario. You were pushing so hard to move forward, and like I was hesitating a little bit, but I was still strategizing.
Yeah.
I still took the back, and while you were pushing forward, I was saying, okay, this is the next play, and we were maneuvering all through the crowd, man. And like it was when like Ludacris played his like most bumping song. I forgot what it was, but everyone started jumping.
I did not think
like
of that.
crazy.
I did not think of that. So yeah,
But everyone was
that
jumping
was
like
good.
crazy, and I was like, okay, now we just move laterally because the front's gonna be like fucking tight. So we were literally snaking through the crowd, and we teleported from like the back to like
those were
15
and
meters
the thing
from the
is,
stage.
those were another metaphor. Because the thing is, probably the only time that we moved in terms of the whole arc of where we started to where we finished. Let's say that was like I don't know, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
We only were actually moving for like 20% of that time.
Oh yeah.
So it was these like short bimps where we just get like these long strides where we were like, standing. We're like, fuck. Everybody around is like so pissed off. They're like,
Oh
look at
yeah,
these
because
kids.
we were shoving.
These motherfuckers have like gone here. I've been waiting here all day. And then the second we're like, yo, we got Hadi in the back. We're like, yo, Operation Go.
Oh,
We're like,
it's go.
And then,
It's go.
and then the thing is, it was so weird because the thing is, the metaphor is that you stand there and like obviously not literally, but like in some sense, you're like,
you're stagnant.
you're like, wow, like you've actually been here for like 7 minutes. And then it's actually the relativeness you feel afterwards. It's when we start moving in like 2 seconds, and I'm like I thought we would like go a walking place. Like I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Like how do we just move? Like
Yeah.
how do we just move a fucking kilometer?
Yes,
How do we just move like 10 meters in like
and like
bro, 1
like,
second?
There's something you learn like in sports too. Like
Yes.
when I started playing rugby,
of course.
like we have something called scrums where it's like
Yeah.
two packs of guys push against each other. And like you know me, like at the start I was like, okay guys, as soon as we hear like the bell, let's just push against each other, right?
Yeah.
Like as fast as we can. Nah, it doesn't work. You have to like you hit and then you wait and then you like bring back your feet close to you. And then you do like tiny hits every single time. Go so much further than the guy who tries to push their way like because if you try and push your way like really fast, those guys who are holding on to each other and like taking small steps,
Yeah.
they use your own like your own power to like basically move you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you have to realize that it's not who like gets there fastest, it's who like actually takes like the time to make small moves.
Yeah.
Wait, look around, small moves, reflect on like what's the next move, and like progressively like get there.
What's most important is once you get to the point where the team you're competing against has also figured that out, and now you're competing on the smallest moves. And if I can just go a little tangent here about my experience, what you're talking about earlier, which is you're talking about giving a shit versus skill. And it's all about competition, obviously. And then the thing is, people always feel like super free. Like when they get into that university, they're like, why? Because finally they're surrounded by people who give a shit. So now it's about who can build up the most skill.
Yes.
And my experience and the thing is, it's funny because I've been out of high school for so long that like, or at least it feels, bro. It feels.
Yeah.
The point I'm making is that I genuinely have no, like, such little like thought about this like giving a shit in the way that I think most like maybe like grade 10s, grade 11s who like are ambitious, like how I was, think about it. Like I do think about it, which I will get to. But what I was gonna say then is that you'll probably find it, unless you already did find, or you can predict that really like in the next months you start to get into scenarios where it's implied that everything must be professional.
Yeah.
And the thing is, for me, like, to be honest, when I came to university, I was a complete jack off. I did not give a flying fuck about like my courses, and it was really weird to me because thing is, I was always sold this idea of like kind of like freshmen around here where it's like everybody sells you like, yeah, like it's a party, whatever. And the thing is, it is. But then for one thing, we would go to our classes and like some of these like business classes, like no, like they try to treat it like a real business environment. So they hold you to these like very strict standards. And at first I was such a jack off kid. I was like, what? Like I was honestly like, I was like that kid in school who like didn't attend class on time, just like out of rebellion. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, yo, chill out. Like, it's not that deep.
I'm paying you.
Yeah. Like, right. I was always saying that.
Like,
It's not that fucking deep. Like, chill out. Like, and then eventually, you know, I went to my summertime internship, and then you have a job. And as I was talking about how adults time manage, like you're in a context where like everything is just important. Like that's just implied, because I mean this is the application. Although funny enough, I realized for me like you could still be a jack off, which is why there's all these memes about these like interns who like will like, you know, fall asleep at their desk and shit, right? And like that's a bad look on our generation. But yeah, it's a matter of like I feel like we have so much of this carelessness that like it didn't even click that like in this transition. We were talking this with teachers. It's not just me talking shit. So yeah, but point being that it's like towards the end, like actually essentially right away, but like they imply it on you, and like if not, they kick you out. But basically, like in my experience in university, it's like there's no more fucking around. Like they hold you accountable to it. That's the thing I think more so with business schools from a standpoint of like literally deep shit. Like in like computer science school, there was a matter of skill. Like they didn't like check you on whether you were late or not. But it's like if you didn't show up, like you're gonna get fucked. So basically, pretty quickly you get into an environment where it's like nobody thinks about this. However, what I found is that this kind of arc that you think of when you're younger, of like, oh, once I get there, then I'll be with my cohort of ambitious people, and then we can compete on skill, doesn't necessarily end. Not just because in that cohort there is an 80-20 and you have to find the 20, but because at the end of the day, I think no matter, at least in my case, I find that no matter where I go, it's always about caring. And the only reason that I found this out is because every time that I felt comfortable in terms of who was around me was like on the same shit as me, as in, okay, like now it's just about skill, I ended up becoming lazy because I stopped thinking about that.
Really?
So
because you stopped caring?
Yes, and I think that this is important because if you look, because I've really tried to like figure out like what happens with adults. Why don't they continue progressing on the same at the same rate in which they were progressing in their careers when they were younger, or in any other discipline? And clearly it's a matter of chilling out. And I think that in terms of the thing is like if you think about like where you want to be, there's very little people who are there, and even so, like once you get there, there's so many different ways in which you differentiate. They might have a different purpose than you. They might have different specific goals than you, or they might just not give as many shits as you. Maybe they got lucky in one aspect, or maybe they made it happen and now they no longer care. Like they want to fall back, which is fine. But point being, it's a never-ending thing. Yeah. You and me, but like to anybody who this matters to, you will never be in a position ever in your life where in order to progress, you can just focus on your skill and let your community take care of. There are definitely blips. Like if you get into a community of people who are way better than you, that's a perfect scenario. Obviously, that's a scenario that we all strive to create for ourselves because we know how much progress that kind of implies on us and makes us go through. However, it's always a hustle to get into a better league, better team, better university, better company.
Of course.
It's never fucking ending. Like I don't know, better fucking bank, like whatever. Like it's better group. It's never ending. Like you always have to push yourself. I think no matter where we start, like it's always a thing.
As long as there are other people, bro, the competition is unending.
I like how you mentioned that because, like I have this connection with this building. It's like we have this thing called the Black Youth Forum, and it's like student representatives from every school, and like every year, like no one takes it seriously, right? Like it's always a joke. And then this year, we actually partnered with like the University of Ottawa's Faculty of Education.
Wow.
And we had this building. There was like when you come in, like Louis Pasteur, the area right there, we had like a networking event. And then we booked a few of the rooms, and we like the whole day was just classes and events. And then we came back downstairs for food. And so that group this year, like, I could see like myself starting to like try and better myself so I can be at the top of that group. So I saw like everyone had like Black student unions in their school. So I was like, you know what, let me make my own. So made our own. And then now within that group, that's where I found the opportunity where like we make with Kasai, where it's like the mini film and like the things like that. So it's like I went from this group of like this league of people, like Black students, like where there's two from every school, like there's supposed to be two from every school from the board, to like a more selective group of students now, where it's like now it's like there's maybe like 10 to 20 of us in the city doing something like that, like this, not even the same age. So it's like realistically, like my age, there's maybe 2 or 3 of us, right? And then from this group now, I'm thinking next level. Like I'm like, okay, when I go to U of T now, I start going through their like they have like this page where you see like the clubs. Now I'm looking at like they're like the U of T like pre-law like association for Black people, right? So I'm like, okay, how do I join this now? Like,
Yes.
how do I like set myself up to be
I
like
had
that highest league? And
Yeah.
then from there, I'm like, how do I, so it's like,
yeah.
you don't want to like be the top in your league. You always want to be the worst in the, like a
Yes,
highest league.
absolutely,
Because that's
absolutely.
where you learn. Like, I love how you mentioned that, because that's where I've learned the most. Like, being that smart kid who helps others doesn't teach you as much as being that dumb
like
kid
red
who
light,
learns.
right away.
It's because at
Always
that
scared of
point,
that
you like
scenario.
you're surrounded by your own thoughts.
Exactly.
You're not surrounded by anyone
Facts.
else's. No
So
one's giving you
exactly.
any new ideation, and
Yeah.
like I mentioned this quite a lot, where it's like a sigmoid curve, where like the scales of the levels of competition, it starts off like, people either like have no skill, no work ethics, or at the bottom, and then as you go up, I imagine the curve increases when people's like passion and work ethic increase. And for all those levels, there's always like a plateau where everyone's working hard. Now is just pure skill, and that's where I have a discussion internally about like mastery and nature versus nurture, on like who's actually different on those small little levels, who's built different. And I had the same thing. Yeah, exactly. I had those same ideas when I came out of like high school. Like the second I came out of that graduation room, I was like, okay, like what do I gotta do to be at the top? I spent that whole summer just studying. I was like trying to research of what I could be doing. Inevitably, I changed to the comp side because I deduced that was the best way to make value, short term and long term. And then I was also looking at the clubs, and I was just thinking like, yo, like every single second I was at university, I was like, okay, like I need an opportunity to be like better. Like I need to get to the top of this place to make sure like I've milked this experience for all the opportunity that I can to make a shit go
you one
forward.
time you feel like in this current environment you've reached like almost to like a plateau. Like remember we were talking about that. You were like I've extracted so many opportunities that at this point like I need to go to the next level.
Yes.
And then I think that's when you move to computer science as well.
Yeah.
Like with the minor in like I think life science.
I'm taking a double major for life science.
I just like, this guy is just he's like, you know what? I think I've done too much. Let me go like double major computer science. And science.
No, like I mean, for what, I just love biology. Yo, like I have a video. I've been taking these videos. This is a side note. I've been taking videos, like shout out Ants Canada, because I always watched you when I was younger. But dude, like there's like this invasive colony of ants that I've never seen before in my neighborhood, and they're like war ants. Like they go into different colonies and they rob their larvae and they eat them or raise them as their own. And every time I go for a walk, like I usually walk
raise them as their own.
Yeah,
I fuck with that. Yo, shout out the Warrens. Yeah, I'm about that, bro. These guys are conquerors.
You fuck with them taking their kids and enslaving them, bro.
That's some real conqueror shit. Like they're about that.
Yo, but you see that passion, like in like you just noticed, it's something you'll never see in the government.
Yeah, that's true, bro.
That's like passionate people like that.
I just love biology.
There's a lot of people. I
like they okay.
Well,
I'll retract that statement.
Yo, sorry, I wasn't gonna.
Once they're
Wait,
old.
let me.
It's just that
What do
they're
you
not
mean?
able to apply
like,
it
once
in the
they've
government.
gone in the private sector, gotten the expertise that they want, and they don't worry about like opportunities. as much.
They go to
now they go back in the government.
Yo, but the thing is, the thing that's always in my mind, having worked in 9-to-5 jobs for some of my life, like it's like, yo, people, and I'm not shitting on anybody here, like this is, but like how it works, because I'm thinking about this also as a manager. It's like, yo, like how do you make?
Yeah, you a
how do-
manager?
No, but in terms of fuck no. but like from a standpoint, yo, thank you, bro. From a, I'm trying to get that promotion right now. Yeah.
It'll come in 4 years.
Very professional. He knows his shit.
You'll get that 4%
But I'm talking like, how do you-
increase.
How do you motivate employees?
Mm.
And it's like, the thing is, obviously, people work for a paycheck. But in terms of like what you're saying, it's like, it comes down to like people look for the best position for themselves. And so, like when it comes to like we're talking, you're saying, I think what you're saying is that people who want more stability, in their life and want to focus more on their family life and less on their career, they transfer to the government.
And that's
I mean, that's good.
But
that might be why there's some problems going on. like I'm
No,
saying,
but
it's
that's
hard
most
to
of them.
fire a government worker. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but that's most of them.
Oh, yeah, they get all the
most of
perks.
them. Like they all say the same sentiment where they want to raise their family, want to have kids, and at the end of the day, like that's actually terrifying to me.
and it's also it creates the fact that nobody wants to start their career there because
of
like
course,
you
of
can't
course.
relate to them. Like how you gonna have lunch with them?
And like, bro, like I like to me, like it's actually a really terrifying reality to because if that were the case for us, like let's say we had all this ambition and we didn't have the freedom so that we could still live the life we wanted to in the same circumstances, chasing our dreams, not to have to fall back into like a really safe job and stability, I would feel like that's an incredibly terrifying
What do you
nightmare
mean?
for me. Like,
Oh, you
like
mean-
let's say like I like for me it seems like it's a fall down.
Hey, caught you giving. Oh yeah, okay. Kasai like was watching,
Yeah.
and he heard a shout out for Pres Youth Media.
Yeah.
Hey yo,
Kasai.
shout out Presidential Youth Media. Shout out Prezi, my guy.
Yo, I have no clue what that is. Please come on our podcast and go more in depth about it.
And
I would love to hear about it.
explain. We'd love
And
We
it.
would-
shout out
love-
Adrian Cadet. I love you, Miss Cadet. There you go. Keep going.
All right. But yeah, like yo,
Hadi,
like,
censor all that. I'm just kidding.
nah, but like yo, I'd be like, to me it's a terrifying idea of it. Basically feels like my dreams would be dying to be.
Oh, that it's impossible to do both?
Well, yeah, the idea that it's impossible.
Well, I think
actually
it is. I don't think it's about making it possible. I think it's about making it more attractive for career
Yeah.
people to work in the
I'm
government.
talking about in my context though. But anyways, like what I was saying earlier though, like dude, like every time I try to climb that ladder to get into the best position possible for the opportunity. It's really sobering because it makes me realize, like always hindsight's 2020, how much I could have been doing before. And
That's why we don't like birthdays, bro. Like that's why
That's
guys
why
don't
we
be
don't
celebrating birthdays.
Oh yeah,
like,
when you're an ambitious people, bro. Most people don't like celebrating their birthdays after like 45 because they see themselves getting old.
Yeah.
We don't like celebrating our birthdays because like, damn, didn't achieve that.
Like, damn,
didn't
bro.
achieve that. Didn't achieve that.
Yeah, but for James and my birthday, we went to MTL for MOTV Live coming soon. Yo,
Yeah, coming soon. Right?
coming soon. But yeah, dude.
When
Like,
I think you went to Montreal for your birthday for More Live. That was a long time ago. Yeah,
that was
that podcast been in the.
well. It's art, you know.
Now,
art takes time.
as,
Art takes time.
as one of my initiatives, we did put out some of it, upon my initiative. Now, I don't know. We've been waiting on the whole
We
thing
don't
to
know.
come
Yeah, I
out.
mean, like if I had help with the editing process, guys.
No.
Yeah, the editing process that I started. Yeah. Right.
Okay. But yo, like what I was getting to though is that like I imagine that more and more you're like these levels increase based on your scale of impact, but also like the context for the world. Like
What do you mean?
when I think of the
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
when I
like,
think of
what-
my competition, when I think of the competition, right? Like it's all in smaller scale. Like right now, like back in high school, it's like, okay, how can I make like these students be more impressed with me, my teachers be more impressed. You go forward, then it's like, how can I make myself just impressive to like recruiters and employers, and then how can I make my clients more impressed? And then the competition ends up being on the global scale. How can I make everyone impressed? And that's why I'm trying to put myself in those perspectives, because hindsight's 2020. I realize all the things that I should have been doing so I could level up my game at that level, and I want to be able to make sure that I've made all those decisions before I have gotten there. Obviously, you can't, but I'm trying to perceive that the competition
you want
is
to
world
prepare yourself
scale.
so that are you saying that you want to prepare yourself so that once that is your competition, you already
I'm trying
are
to
ahead?
minimize all the regrettable actions.
Okay, but I
that
feel
I
like
make.
that is a result of like
Wait, what do you
poor
mean?
mindset. Like not poor mindset, but like because I was thinking about this like yesterday, like because we had like our semifinal game, right, for rugby, and I was like, we low-key like overestimate how much we can do like in a year or like over like a short period of time, and then we underestimate how much we can do in like 10 years, right? Like if you look at like for me, that's something I suffer with a lot. Like when I was saying I don't like celebrating birthdays, like whatever, it's like I be thinking like, yo, in this year I could become the Okezobel of like Ottawa.
Right.
Where it's like,
Of
nah,
course,
like
of course.
you can't do that in a year.
I'm not disregarding the small steps, of
yeah,
course.
but then I'll be thinking like in 10 years, like, oh, in 10 years I could be better than them, but I'm not even thinking about 10 years. 'cause
that's
I'm-
exactly it.
Yo, one thing that I get to when I do that process is, and you can take this as you want to, but it's in fact I don't really have a takeaway from this because it's a little weird, but is that if you think about your growth as it's supposed to at least go linearly, or generally compound, because typically you see people's growth compound in their
Yeah.
career. If you think about yourself having this amount of growth in 1 year, and then you put that on that kind of compounding scale, or even on a linear
Right.
scale, and you think about yourself in 20 years,
Yeah.
you will be at a point which is like inhuman. Do you know what I mean? As in like,
Yeah.
isn't like if this, because like if this actually was like a bona fide level of growth, that means that I would have to be there in 20 years, which makes no fucking sense
it
because
makes
nobody
no
can get there
sense,
ever. So how can I get this amount of growth? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's basically just coming down to earth. I'd be like,
Yeah.
Well, I'm
finding
not
your
saying be
common
unrealistic.
sense, huh?
What I'm saying
Yeah.
is that for
What are you
me,
saying?
for what I find, is that a lot of the mistakes I make is the lack of perspective. A
Mm.
lot of the things that I made, especially like my business mistake, and we talked about this earlier where we traced back. We talked about it on an earlier pod where I said, and I mentioned this, my like I really regret not applying to U of T or to McGill for comp
Yeah.
sci.
The lack of perspective is right, and that's probably for when we're talking about like any kid or anybody we're talking about. It's always lack of perspective.
Absolutely, and it comes, but like I imagine this scale comes down to the smallest like single moment decisions, and obviously, as you said, things compound. These decisions compound. Your growth compounds. Your actions build up for the future. And if I'm making these mistakes short term, both long term and short term, then I won't be able to get to where I'm at. And I need to be able to perceive
Yeah, that's
what
I
the
keep saying,
vision is so that I can build up to it. I need to be able to take the small steps. If you look at, like, let's say you're at the base of Mount Everest and you're looking at the top and you're thinking, oh, I can't do that. But you see that there's a path laid out.
You
for
see a dead body, you're like,
Well-
okay, somebody came here.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
But you
lack
also see the
perspective.
small steps as
So
well.
when
But
you
but the important thing is that you can see Mount Everest.
Yeah.
And for this is that like there's no path laid out for us, and that's where I find the most amount of
Yes.
thoughtfulness that I need to put in because
Yes.
we
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can't necessarily perceive how everything's gonna look like at the end. We don't know what's the path.
And that's what makes it so hard to get perspective.
Of course. And that's also why a lot of mistakes can be made. So
Right.
I want to be able to assume all the variables so that I can make those decisions. And
This
you
guy's
know,
a computer scientist. Assume the variables. Like,
Yo, you finna start thinking like
I'm a
that too soon. You're going.
mathematician.
You're,
Oh,
you're
yeah,
going
yo,
philosophy, man. Trust me.
Well,
yeah.
no, yeah,
It's all logic, bro.
It's all
You're-
logic.
it's all
Yeah.
logic.
I've been thinking like that. Yeah,
but
yeah.
like you know, like I'm so frankly terrified of like just missing something. I'd
Mhm.
rather have made a mistake than completely have it flow over my head, which it has on only numerous occasions, very few. But when it does, it's always super bad.
Yeah.
And then coupled with like small decisions of hesitation, like you could really limit your growth. I have definitely limited my growth as a
So in
result of that.
essence, what are you saying?
What I'm saying is that maybe not for everybody,
Shut up.
but I say that I think that everyone is lacking their context for what they're trying to apply on the greatest of scales that they're trying to achieve. And it's like we were talking about in terms of competition. Like what I'm essentially saying is like you really have to play the game like you're playing the most idealistic version of you. You need to have that perspective of the competition that could ever exist.
Okay.
That's the highest level
I
that
see
you're
what you
playing
mean.
at.
Yeah.
And very rarely I'm ever put against a challenge like that.
So yes, you have to assume
You have to assume
the most high level of competition despite
Yes.
not seeing it.
exactly.
so
You have to assume that it's
right.
like someone out there. I mean, like this is.
And
I'd
you also
say
have to assume that
trivial.
your goal. Okay, we did talk about this, right? You
Yeah.
have to assume that your immediate competition is of the highest level possible, and
Of
that
course.
your future potential is of the highest level possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You gotta hold yourself to that standard. And you know that's why I feel great that we. Even in Pitbull, we're having like fucking wars mid section with these random people, man. But like it's so important.
And the craziest thing, you go home, you go to sleep, you're like, oh, such a good concert, such good guys, love
Yeah.
the ladies, and you're like, and then right before you fall asleep, you're like, you know what? I could have gone further.
We could have fought those rednecks with
Yo,
the
I coulda-
cigars
those,
and shit.
yeah, okay.
Dude, we were like
Those-
4 meters from the
those-
bar. Like it was like from here to
Oh,
that window. That's how
okay.
close we were to the stage. And the guys who were sitting where Hadi was, they were like these like full bred Canadians, lumberjack
like-
type guys. They had like
They
vodka.
had like so many bottles and shit.
Yeah,
and
it's
you're
like
not allowed
liquor pit,
and they're not
basically.
allowed to have alcohol or any open substance. They had cigarettes, cigars, and
Nobody
like
was grabbing
alcohol.
from them too. Like
and they were right in front of the security as well.
Wow.
The security wasn't
They
messing
were
with
like,
them.
yo, security.
And you know what? Like, the security, right?
They're like
Yeah.
that.
Right now.
Bro.
Yeah, and then me and Andrew, like, should we push forward? And then we had our friend was there. We were like, okay, like, we're trying to compete, but we're not trying to die
It's
here.
like, if you
Like,
push too far,
it's
you're
game
gonna-
over.
Yeah,
It's
that
like,
shit.
I still can't, bro. Yo, I'm sorry.
Like,
Keep going.
when
My
you try to grab too many eggs, you drop them all. So
Oh,
just,
yes.
You just gotta calm down at some point.
And we were close,
and
bro.
accept it.
We were good, man. We had a good spot. We ran into our boy from SRB. We found one of our mates. We were like, yeah,
Hey,
we're
it's
good.
only 5 steps, man. Don't risk your life. for
Exactly,
5 steps.
exactly,
You know
man.
what I mean?
That's the thing. Once you start considering fear, you start considering the ramifications. You're done. That's when you're done.
It's over.
Because
It's
think about,
over.
bro, you could have, you know when you see those dancers, bro, and
We
they
could have
turn
been
around,
on the
bro.
stage. We could have been
You
on the
know,
stage.
That's what I'm
We
saying.
just fear for our
Yo,
lives.
So you know,
So
bro.
we gotta essentially
Yo, you
risk
could've
it all.
performed,
Hey,
but
well, exactly.
type shit.
No, but that's the thing, right? Because like I didn't have the perspective.
Think-
You see,
see,
I didn't know
think
Pitbull was
about
gonna
it.
perform in Ottawa on what is it, the 16th of July, 2023. I could have
Until
been
the
studying.
15th of July, 2023. I didn't know Pitbull
I
was
could've
gonna
been
perform
studying, bro.
at 10 until like 12 that day. Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So we didn't know we were going until
These
our
guys
friend was
came
like,
there.
"Oh, we got
At, these
tickets."
guys came there at 3 p.m. I'm like, bro, at 3 p.m. I thought that I was gonna be studying tonight. Like, chill.
Yeah, we were working, bro. We were trying to build. But yeah, bro. Like that. I just know that. Like when I go to sleep, man, I always feel so happy that I wasn't one of those 40-year-old moms in the crowd, bro.
Bro,
at the
this-
front.
No.
This
They were
brings me back to
doing
this,
their.
valedictorian shit.
What are you saying?
Like the happiness that you were in, like the crowd, whatever. Like that's exactly what happened to me. Cause, at first, like, so the way SRB works is like to be.
Yeah, let's hear. I hear there was some
Let me
some
get
going
to
on
that,
with the
bro. I
valedictorian,
got
bro.
you.
I've been
Type shit.
there's some
Hadi,
conversation.
you may have to be on the ready for this.
So
Don't censor it. Don't
on
censor it, though.
Wednesday, on Wednesday, like that's when they started like the application for valedictorian for the nominations.
Yo, this is important.
But like, oh yeah, but that day I wasn't even at school because I had like bigger business to do. Like I was actually here that day,
Okay.
and we had 400 students like here like that day. So I was like,
This reminds me of the time
one
that
the
Josh
organizers.
to get his like highest grade award at the award assembly, not for any reason that he was out of school, because he wanted to attend the class that he had at that time, which was also really ironic because it's like the reason that he got it is the reason that he can't come to it.
So like
So-
I was here organizing the event with like other like black people for like 400 kids, right? So I didn't even come. Like I missed one of the 3 days that we had for nominations. So I come in the second day, and you know, like I live in Westboro. SRB is in the PN. So like it's near the end of the school year. It's June 8th, whatever. I'm not trying to be
It's
in
a
school
mission,
on
bro.
time, you know, like
It's a mission.
I came in, I was a little late, like maybe 20 minutes late, and like the office lady was like, she knew my name now by then, because it's like she knew.
How couldn't she know you?
I was like,
You're him.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
so
him.
I see in front of her desk, I see those blue papers, right? And I'm like, yo, what's that? Like nominations, valedictorian, blah, blah. I'm like, yo, let me valedictorian. I'm like, that's what I've been waiting for. And then she was like, I didn't even need to say anything. She was like, oh, you should take one. I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, I'll take one for my friend. I knew damn well that was not for my friend. I took 2 pieces because my thought process was like, what if the paper that I have wrinkles as I'm like writing on it? And then I handed
2 steps ahead.
Exactly. What if I hand in a wrinkled piece of paper? So I was like, nah, I can't do that. So I grabbed 2. And like at the back, there was like those lines where you had to explain your reasoning. And like, I didn't want to overstep, go over the lines, like write longer than it was. So I was like, you know what? Let me prepare on the first sheet so that I can write a proper one on the second one. But I told her, oh, it's for my friend, but nah, it's for me. So like, I took the paper and like that day I got like, literally that morning I got like 3 teachers like right up. Like I was like, yo, that's light work. Like 3 teachers to sign this, light. 15 students. All I did was go in the halls. I was like, yo, I'm running for valedictorian. Would you sign? Like I got 15 signatures in less than 10 minutes.
Oh,
like it was easy,
Yo, congrats, man.
bro. So
I like
then
that.
I give it to like, blah blah. Like I give it to the teachers. They sign it. The students they sign it. I give it to the office the next day, like the final day, and then it goes through the process where it's like the teachers have to review it first, and then after they made like a ballot and they sent it out like at lunch. So students only had lunch to vote.
Wow.
And they said in like on the the phone, like
The intercom, yeah.
intercom. So I was like, the thing with me is I'm like, okay, like if you think about it, like which group of students really pays attention to that, and which group of student actually goes through their emails and cares enough to vote for valedictorian. So I was like, all those students, they're all friends. It's all the French immersion kids. So there was a specific rule. They were like, you're not allowed to promote. So I was like, okay, like that's light work. Like I'm trying to study law, so I'm like, where can I like bypass this, right? So I'm like,
like a true lawyer.
I was like,
we're signing you, huh? We're signing.
How do I play by the rules? So first thing I do is I literally go around the halls and I have a speech in my mind. I go to random ass people. I'm like, look, they just said valedictorian votings are open. I'm not telling you to vote for anyone, but just make sure you vote because I want to make sure that it's the most like representative of the class. Like I want to make sure that it actually represents.
You want to increase the voter rate?
Yeah, but I was strategic in who I asked.
Oh, of course.
So I didn't go ask.
This guy's actually like gerrymandering
I was about
the
to
shit out
say
of it, bro. This guy literally said, "This guy's like, yo, you went." It's too funny because you said that right after like I put like the kind of like label of the right. I'm like, oh yeah, you want to increase the voter rate, right? You're like, yeah, but I was strategic with who I asked. I'm like,
dude, this guy made the partitions in the city, bro. So this guy chose.
We can like, they'll be like, yo, wait, hold on. Why don't you ask that guy? You're like, oh no, I thought you already heard it on the PA. Yeah. I thought that guy. You're like walking around the teacher. Teacher's like, okay. Yo, I'm gonna make sure that you are like, you're like, oh, I think the guy's a little busy. Yeah, no, I think he has the exam. No. He told me he has the exam coming up. He has to
You should
study.
just be a politician at this point, bro. Just move on, bro.
Fucking politician, bro.
I was literally just like, yo, make sure you vote. It doesn't even matter who you vote for. Just make sure you vote. Once I went through the list of people that I wanted to ask, then I had time. I was like, oh yeah, like asking random kids that I'd never even talked to. Like, there's this guy called like Noel Belfer. But I was like, yo, he like voted for me. I was like, bet, like asking random ass people to vote. But I didn't say for me, but like I know he voted for me because you know what I'm saying. Like, I'm like, yo, vote. I was like, vote for someone. Who could it be? You know what I'm saying? But anyways, so then like at the end of the week, like the principal calls me to the office. So at that point, I'm like, yo, like, what did I do? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, what? Why am I being called
ready
to
to
the
make your
office?
case, huh? You're like thinking back. You're like thinking back. Was there any moment where I could have like overstepped? You're like,
Exactly.
oh, right here. Yeah,
Like,
I know how this shit goes, bro. I know.
I was like, okay,
yeah.
where?
Nah,
and I was already thinking of a defense.
That's the thing. You think that the time to be a lawyer is when you're doing it, but when you get tested is always after you're
this
already
guy's
studied,
actually
right?
Mike Ross. He can
Now you're
represent
like-
himself,
now you're
bro.
like,
This
yeah.
guy's
That's when I
gonna
was like,
represent
I
himself.
was dead ass thinking like, okay, what point did I overstep myself and how am I supposed to like defend myself, right?
Right.
But then he just announced me like I won. Like, do I accept the honor to be valedictorian? So I knew right as they were like about to say it.
Yeah.
So I was walking down like the stairs and like I was hearing my name and the school screaming blah blah blah. Fast forward a few days. Now that's when the controversy starts.
That's okay. Because no,
That's
you're right. I
when
was thinking about it because the principal does not give a flying fuck. Like, they're just trying to get it out of their way and move on to the next task.
It's
When the
everyone
people
else.
come back and challenge it,
It's
bro,
the
this is
other
actually like a full
valedictorian,
case.
bro.
Like they're
So-
going to challenge it now.
So
Okay.
there
Yo,
were
yeah,
kids who ran for valedictorian, a part of the LGBTQ community, and they lost. I'm not
Bro,
gonna
I'm
say
loving
names.
the second you said they're part of the LGBTQ community.
Yo,
I'm
it's
like, I'm
Gouta-
loving this
it's
story,
Gouta
bro.
v-
I'm not gonna say names.
It's Gouta v they / them, bro. That's the
Nah, but
court
bro,
case.
All right. So what happened? What went down?
happened is earlier that month, I had posted like June 1st a post on my Instagram story about how Christians should navigate through Pride Month. So
No way.
because here's
My,
the thing
this is
with
the
me.
this is the
I
first
saw
time.
that
Yo,
post.
Here's
yo,
the thing.
yo,
I
first
saw
time
that.
on Motive that like we actually got somebody. Mike's here. I hear you say like, yo, cause on June 1st, like this is actually on some like Oprah shit, bro. Like,
Bro,
goddamn,
like on some real shit. Like I'll say what I think, and I was like, yo, as a Christian, I'm not gonna like support your actions, but I'm not gonna hate on you either, cause I'm just gonna politely disengage. So that was the message of the post. So no one said anything to me because I guess they're scared of confrontations. And then the day that I won like the valedictorian, those students like they were like silent. Like, they didn't actually go to the principal until days later, but they already started like talking within each other because they were friends.
They're trying to build a case.
And I heard about that because my friend
girl.
heard them and told him, and he told me.
Okay.
And then I went to her and asked him, and then I went to the friends of those people and asked to get more information. So I knew this was coming, so I was preparing my defense like before, like over the weekend.
These are two law firms battling out.
Okay,
Bro.
So then I get the call to the office that I was just waiting for. Like the principal called me.
Yeah, you expected it.
Yeah, and then he was talking about well, those students didn't feel represented because they felt like I had hate towards.
Yo, I'm sorry. I'm just thinking of this in the voice. You know when you think of something in somebody's voice, I'm thinking of like our principal saying
Mr.
this.
Gagne, yeah.
Bro, I can literally hear his voice the way
Yeah.
he was saying it, bro.
And like 6 students like got with each other, and apparently their parents even wrote emails. So it was starting to be big. Like
Right.
Wow.
he was feeling pressured, so I had to like say something. So like I was in the office with him, and I was heated, but like sitting down, like chill, like and I was trying to figure out like, okay, like what's happening? Like, am I gonna get demoted? Am I gonna lose this position? I was like, nah, there's no way. So then, like I talk with him, and I'm like, they're like, okay, what do you think you could do? Like he asked me, do you think you're able to like step up to the challenge? So I was like, yeah. So then I'm like, because he was like, they were like, oh, this is stressful. Like you only have a week to write your valedictorian, and from that week I had to deal with the issue first before like writing it. So then I was like, here's what we're gonna do. I suggested he calls a meeting with them, so all of them, and we speak like face to face, because now they were anonymous. I knew like some of them. Like I knew 2 of them I still don't know, but I didn't even bother to know because I know they weren't like the main agents. So then I'm like, bro, no, okay, not like that. But like, so he called the meeting that day. Only 2 of them came. Like one didn't even come. That was supposed to come.
Okay, so that's smart. So you already put it down to 2. You went from
Yeah,
6 to
but
2. That's really
those
smart.
people I DM'd beforehand, like before the meeting even happened.
Oh, you were like.
Yo,
so I
what
was
the fuck,
proactive. I
bro?
was
This is
proactive.
actually really impressive, to be honest.
Bro,
Like this
like,
is
by-
this is genuinely impressive.
Like, bro, I literally like this is a moment I've waited for, bro. Like being valedictorian, I've waited for this moment since grade 9. So it's like I spoke to them, like cleared the issues from the start, and then when the meeting came, it was just like a constructive meeting. Like, okay, like how can we do better? What can we fix? Blah blah blah. And like I came out that meeting chilling. Like it was right after an exam too. Like I was just chilling, right? And then
Yeah, that post-exam clarity.
yes, yeah. And then I like it was funny because one of the like girls who was like supposedly against me, like I like DM'd her, and like we used to be friends too. So I was
Wow.
like, why is it that you turn your back? And then she was like, oh, like I was kind of pressured like by the other friends who felt strongly about it, and I didn't know how to navigate it. And she was closer with them than she was with me. So obviously like she just went with them, right? So literally in a couple,
really be your own
and
people,
then
bruh.
literally it was the day of my birthday actually that I had the meeting, June 21st. I remember that because then at the end of the meeting, I was like, okay, I'll send an address that you can send to like those 6 people and like their parents. And I was like, but I'll send it tomorrow at like 7 a.m. because like I'm going out for my birthday. Like it's my birthday.
Oh,
And I
of
was
course, of course.
like, and it's not even, I'm not even paying for the food as my friend. So I was like, I'll send it to you guys by 7 tomorrow. So I go out. We went to Mandarin. Like I didn't even care about it. And then I went home, wrote this long ass address. Like it was long, but I was like, you're gonna read it because you complained about it, right? So then it was like basically like what happened, the next steps, why. Like I made it nice too because I knew the parents were gonna read. And like when I type my emails, like I try to make it professional.
Oh, of course,
you know? And then I press schedule send. So that like it would send exactly at 7.
Nice.
So
nice.
it was 7 or 9, like one of the two. But like it was done the night before at like 10 p.m. or like 11 p.m. So then I sent out the address, and then I literally cleared it out the way. Like there's no way they were gonna take me out of the valedictorian position anymore. So I was like, how can I do a final fuck you to this like school? So like
So what
Bro
you do,
took
man?
care of business.
Yeah.
Now it was time to take
I made
care
it,
of
but
you.
the
Okay.
thing is, I'll stay respectful. Like
Yeah.
I tried.
Yeah.
So what I
stayed
did,
respectful inserts the most deviant
Yeah.
shit ever.
I stayed
What I
respectful. I
did-
just got
Nah,
I got rid
it
of the
wasn't bad.
problem.
It wasn't even bad, I swear. Like at the end of my speech, I put like I wanted to scream God did. Like just like God did.
God did.
But
Okay.
they removed it. So I was like, okay. So I put like 6 Bible verses in it, but I didn't like quote that was from the Bible. But like you know, like because the Bible has a certain way of like talking where it's like you have to
So
know.
you're saying you didn't say that it is from the Bible?
No, I
but
just quoted like the
Okay,
Bible.
okay.
Like if I wanted to say something, I was like, one thing was like, be steadfast in all your ways, and like, do not turn to evil, and like, don't forget, like, don't turn left and right. Because like, I was just like putting random verses that I think would make sense,
Right.
bro. When I tell you, when I made that speech, bro, like I was so chill. I was so happy too, cause then, like, I knew like it was a good speech that nobody could even hate. Like that's the thing, like, because they didn't even want me there, like I needed to make sure that it was a good ass speech. You know what I mean? And then at the end of it, like, is one of the girls who went to the principal came in and complimented the speech. So it was like, okay, like now you're forced to make a turn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it was like, it was such a crazy moment for me, because that's when I kind of realized, like,
I can imagine.
I was like, you know what, like, as annoying as this is, like, this is like a welcome to the real world.
This is life. Yeah, this is life.
This is life, bro. Like,
This is how it works.
I literally just got like promoted to a new position, and I already have to deal with politics.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
Real shit.
like it was so funny. And then I had like random parents just tell me to like post it on YouTube, and like tell me, like, there's this one lady, she told me, I don't remember what university she like graduated from, but she said she had her master's graduation ceremony like the week before this, and she was complimenting my speech. She was like, it was better than the one she heard at her master's. And I was like, yo, like,
Let's hear the speech.
Hmm?
Can we hear
Do
the
you have it?
speech?
Do you have it on
It's
YouTube?
on YouTube, bro.
Really?
It doesn't. I look back at it and I'm like, bro, it wasn't even that good.
Do you have it on your notes?
It's on YouTube, bro. You type my name, you'll find it.
Can you read it right now?
Read the speech?
Or I'm gonna watch it right now.
I'm not gonna read it, bro.
Yo,
I wanna
how
see
long?
it.
It was like 12 minutes.
What's that?
Yeah.
we got time.
Nah, I'm not ready for it, bro.
Yo, but like,
Because it doesn't sound as nice as I thought it did, but like, it sounded nice in the moment.
of
Because
course.
Of course.
Because like the thing is, like I'm like really hard on myself, so it's like I'll watch back my own shit and I'll be like, nah, this is trash. But like the people around me were like, oh, this is so good, this is so good. So I was.
I mean, it's a big moment. Yeah, they
I was
they
gassed
feel the
up,
vibe.
bro.
Yeah.
And then the only reason I like actually focused on that speech was because I was like, yo, like if like they didn't want me there, so I have to make it good.
Yes, bro.
So my mom came, my sister came, my brothers came, and usually there's like a 2-person limit. They came with 4. So I was like, okay, like I need to make it good. Like my brothers are watching, you know what I'm saying? Like, and like, bro, I'm not even gonna shout myself out, but I will. Like, yo, if you type my Gouta valedictorian, you'll find it. It's like 100 views or some shit. Like not that many, but like our school isn't that big, so I know like
A whole lot more now.
yeah, type
Yeah.
shit. So like literally just watch it, and like the angle is kind of from the side.
Blow it up.
So like what the students would see, and like some students come back to me like talking about how they felt, they came out inspired and everything.
Yeah, no, it's a big moment for everybody.
Cause like I made sure it was inspirational. And then one of my friend Lucas Chenier was like, bro, when I heard you won valedictorian, I didn't even think your speech was gonna be that good. Like he thought it was gonna be some joke shit. Like he thought I was gonna like fuck around, like, cause I'm like I be fucking around. In
Of
school
course,
sometimes,
of
you know what I'm
course.
saying?
You have fun, man.
But then like when he like heard it, he was like, oh shit, like this is good. Like it's not some monotone shit that like the other kids would have wrote, you know? Like I had the parents laughing and shit. Like I was feeling good, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
the parents were laughing. I even told Morose that I never read her books. Like I was saying everything, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I'd love to have seen that in
bro,
person, man.
bro, I was.
I
feeling
heard you.
good.
I heard you like you like fucking like Eld Miss Wong or something.
Yeah, I was like, bro, like we had to go through Miss Wong's math class. Like, and someone like was like in the audience, like, yeah, like she's.
Yeah.
And I was saying like, oh, like, I had something about making Miss Stephanie, but then I had to remove it.
Yeah. Really?
About what? Like in a
Yeah, that's
positive
an
way?
internal.
Cause what I was saying, what I wanted to say was, we used to be demons. Like, remember, like making Miss class, running through the halls.
Yo, like,
All
maybe
those-
this is a moment, cause like I did the same shit. Maybe it's destiny that we
Everybody. Yeah. Everybody,
it's a
bro.
moment that has to
Everybody.
be like, if you're
When you pull up to
French,
yeah.
you have to make Miss Stephanie cry. Like I know it sounds devious and stuff, but it doesn't even have to be sad tears, bro. I'll fix it. It doesn't even have to be sad tears. Most of the time it is. But you can
Yeah.
you could make her so proud. You could make her so proud that she starts crying.
That's the point. Like,
I
it's not
love
necessarily
this stuff,
bad.
you
It's
know
more
what I
just like
mean?
internal lore. Like,
Yeah.
they can't let it slip out. Hadi,
They
what were you
told me I
saying?
had to remove that. Okay, but now y'all are different though. Y'all
Yo, the thing is, our class was her first year at SRB.
Yeah.
So like she had to learn. That's what I'm saying. Every teacher like because they think that like they come in with their like Mr. Green.
Yeah. I
Like this
remember
was
him,
actually
bro.
depressing.
Yeah, I feel
This is
bad. For him. No,
depressing.
we had him online, bro. He was a teacher.
He
for
literally
SRB.
went from being first day. He was so excited.
Oh yeah.
He went. His mood went to.
No, it started up, bro. He was like, "Hey guys, welcome." He would like every Friday he would put on like Star Wars theme or
Yeah,
some shit.
yeah.
Like he'd be like, "Hey guys, nice to see you," and then you could literally see, bro, like every time.
Like you just see him
just
getting more and more
decline, bro.
depressed.
Yeah, but like, bro.
But Stephanie hasn't lost that though. She was.
Yeah, but I'm glad.
No, but it was a
didn't-
COVID thing though. So
I'm glad I didn't say it like during the valedictorian because it was like I like looking back now. I'm like, yeah, that would have maybe not too
Mhm.
nice.
Yeah,
But
don't.
she wasn't there. Like she was on vacation.
oh, okay.
So I was like, you know.
Yeah.
No, but shout out Miss. She's
Shout
a
out Miss
lovely
Stephanie.
woman.
I forget.
But like that day, like the valedictorian, like one of my friend was just screaming, "God did!"
God did.
because God literally did, bro. Like the LGBTQ tried to silence me. Like y'all tried to silence me.
Oh hell
And here I am, still standing.
God, dude.
God did. God did. Hey, what does it say? Valedictorian 2023. How many of them are at SRB? There's one. Like, okay, like I think the year
We
before,
removed the devil.
the year before they had to because the cohorts.
Really? They
Yeah,
had two?
because they had to like cohort A.
Yeah. Who was cohort
That
B?
sucks.
They could be like, okay, there was two of us. Nah, this year there's one. It was me. You know what I'm saying? And I made sure everybody knew I was Christian too, because they know I'm Christian. So I made sure
Yeah,
to
you
shout
ma-
out God. You know what I'm saying?
Respect.
Alright, my fault.
Respect.
Yeah. It's just about standing, standing up for what you believe.
course.
No,
in,
I'm
no
saying
worries.
respect to you.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not saying show
okay.
respect. I'm saying respect to you. Yeah.
Like, it's
I'm saying I
not-
respect what you did.
Yeah, like you could. The thing with me, bro, like I took equity and social justice, thinking I was gonna have like arguments or whatever, which never happened. But like, there's a moment where we started talking about protests, and like at the school board right next to SRB. Like for those who don't know, like right next we have the school board, and then our school like are really close. Like they pretty much share the same parking lot.
Mm.
So then there was protests at the board, so everyone at the school knew. And I was in equity.
Oh,
and
was that
social
the
justice
was that when
class.
the Muslim community was
Yeah,
protesting?
it was
against-
it was
yeah.
the same month, so there was like uproar in the
Hadi,
community.
would you like to take this moment to come on camera and give us a little synopsis? I know that this issue is close to your heart.
Okay, so
You had your chance, bro.
How does that happen?
I told the Miss Rose I was talking, and I was like, I wouldn't even care if you were protesting against me, as long as you protest properly and like you're organized. Because their protest wasn't organized, and they like you didn't even like they didn't even do it properly. And then she was like, like, did I hear that properly? You're saying like you'd be fine if people protest against you, and I was like, yeah, like.
That's
Okay,
the
of
point.
course it's gonna hurt, but like
That's the
if
point of
that's their
protest.
that's the point of their opinions, and that's what they really believe in. Protest against me,
Yeah.
like do it properly so that I can follow your train of thought, and then maybe reflect. So then, bro, like if you protest, like the thing with me is like if you have an opinion, like I don't care what it is, it could go against mine as long as you like you like value that opinion and like. You actually stand for what you believe in. Like you can't say the most like stupid shit like that exists and then backtrack as soon as you're challenged. Like nah, you gotta keep.
Okay, so you respect somebody who can, hold up their own.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you could say something like. That's why like okay, this sounds fucked up, but like even like dictators like. I have
Taters?
dictators like
Oh, dictators.
I have some level of respect for them.
Mm.
Because your life is on the line every single day. Like your own general could kill you like at any time, but you keep it up because
No, I know what you're saying.
It's as
I-
real as it gets.
yeah.
No, like I absolutely agree with you. Like
So-
there's a level of respect for people who have like authority, and obviously
Yeah.
you don't condone their actions,
yeah,
but
no. Like
you always see inspiration when you can. That's
Exactly.
you got to know how to play the
But
game.
go on,
that's why I
go
had
on.
to make sure everyone at SRB knew I was Christian.
Yeah.
That's why I had to make sure like
Yeah.
that's why I posted the How Should Christians Navigate Pride Month too, because it's
Yeah.
like, Christians follow me. This is what I think. This is what I'm gonna post, so that people know what I think.
Yeah. So how do you feel about like this whole thing of like stating, of like stating like how you feel? Do you know what I mean?
I feel like
can you expand on that? Like, cause I don't know. I mean, if you have not thought about this,
no, I have like
much, but like I'm guessing that like this is something that has been crossing your mind.
Like the thing with me is like, I don't think there's anything more respectable than like standing up for what you believe in, because the purpose of that, like the only reason it matters is because you express those opinions not to oppress others, but to make sure that to like bring them like to think the way you think, or perhaps think the way they think, in the pursuit of like this higher like society. Like for like a really nice example is, if I believe that everyone should be educated to like the highest level of like education, like university, for example, like if I believe everyone in society should like attend university, I'm not gonna oppress people who are dumb because who don't go to university because they haven't gone, but I'm gonna talk about it in the hopes that because I think this is the right thing to do, people are gonna start doing that thing.
Yeah.
So if you have an opinion that you genuinely believe is the right opinion, and yet you decide not to say anything, I feel like that's the worst thing you could do.
Yeah.
If you genuinely think that you are correct, and it applies to other people, then it's in some sense your duty to make to get other people to do it.
And it's incredibly unfortunate.
You basically summarized the.
Because otherwise, either two things: either you don't believe that you're right, in which case more analysis is required, or you believe that you're right, but you just don't give a shit about others.
Exactly.
I would say there's actually more of a third reason where, it's more of like I would say it's more like they do give a shit about others, where a lot of this culture is surrounded by a lot of fear mongering towards speaking and being politically correct.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's incredibly dangerous because a lot of people see that their lives could be put on the line as a result of their opinions.
That too, eh? You know, like,
oh yeah.
Like even my sister, she was like, she told me like when I start posting those things, and even after the valedictorian thing, when they were like the things happened, they were like, you should be more cautious in the future because you could lose so many opportunities,
which is so backwards.
Yeah.
Because they're essentially saying like, okay, like concede and fall into their line of thinking.
But it's true, they're right.
Yeah,
of course they're right. They're looking out for you, but it's unfortunate that that's the reality.
Yeah, but like the thing is, everyone has their own hierarchy of values, right? And like for some people, honesty just isn't at the top.
Yes.
Like, and you can't exactly blame them because everyone values different like things differently. Like for some people, happiness is at the top. Happiness of others.
Yes.
Like for them, they're not gonna tell you things that hurt you because they want you to be happy.
And for most adults, it's a matter of being able to provide. So that's why they will censor themselves in order to keep their jobs. Like for example, I'm doing some like job interviews right now, and I actually made my YouTube channel private.
Okay.
Because I'm like, like you
really?
Yeah, just for the time being.
Yeah.
I'll unprivate it later.
That
but
makes
just
sense.
Of course.
Just for the time being.
You just don't want to risk it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's
That's
also like, you know, ways to get around this, like person, like just a few. I know we're talking about more philosophical, but like just quickly on the side.
Yeah.
Like for example, I'm trying to make my kind of like professional facing channels online rank higher on Google than my more like personal stuff online, right? Like eventually I want to make my Instagram public, for example, but like, I'm not really there yet.
And like there's this one quote, I forgot which philosopher said it, which like I used to like quote it all the time, and it said, if the truth is gonna kill them, then let them die. Like it's like if by telling them the truth they can't take it, that it hurts them, then let it hurt. Like they have like, cause you can't just live in a life of delusion. Like you can't just ignore the truth that people need to hear because you want them to be happy. That's how I see it. That's why like in my hierarchy of values,
we both are on the same page.
I feel like we're all like we can all.
The place where I play is a matter of like jobs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at right now.
And we also have to play. We have to tread very carefully because of course like we want to like the risk is obviously existent and it's we want to be able to continue.
Who was because I feel like this was on All In. There was because there was obviously Coinbase, but what was one? Was it Disney? No.
FTX?
No, Disney
there was
so pro.
Yo, there was like
everything.
There was one, but it was like more of like the fucking president candidate. The presidential candidate, like Vivek. Who was also saying how he had this company that he started. It was like this biotech company.
Yes.
Like $1 billion in value. Plenty of drugs created that were like not looked at by other companies due to systematic reasons. And then when it came to like Black Lives Matter, and he's Indian, but like came to Black Lives Matter, he wasn't saying anything, and like basically it's not a matter of like it's still his company, but like his employees were not gonna put the same effort in because he wasn't speaking out against it.
Yeah. So
like again, the reason I'm like comfortable with like losing things with like small valedictorian positions or like just like the job that I have now, because I work for like a non-profit organization, is because I don't have much to lose. So it's like obviously like as you grow, like the more you have to lose, the hardest it is to like value like honesty and truth.
By the way, like say what's true to you, but I am not saying I'm saying how do I manage this in order to let the truth, in order to let my truth like supersede things while not being like a bum. Yeah, so like what like I'm just trying to say to the viewers, like when I say like it doesn't matter what I lose, like as long as I say the truth, like I obviously don't go around just like oppressing people for the idea of oppressing others. Like you need a purpose in why you tell people. Yeah, when I posted that post, yes, I didn't post it like, oh fuck, like we're not posting extreme. No, that was definitely elegant. Yeah, of course. Even and the thing is, like the principal read the post. Like they read it. The wording was extremely like it was nice wording. Like it wasn't any like hate sentiment. There's no malice behind it, and that's the point. Like most of these. Like I find a lot of these and like from both sides of it of any debate, like I'm not saying strictly I'm for any position. This is just generally like we just have to be forthright and genuine with our beliefs. Yeah. And a lot of the time, like you see all this like debate and debacle and heated arguments that come out of just genuine malice and the fact that the other side wants to have supremacy over the other side. Exactly. It's I heard this really interesting quote. I forgot who said it, but it changed between and this was talking in terms of like you know like underrepresented minorities. Not like I'm not saying I'm for this position, but the times have changed from a fight for recognition for a fight of culture suppression and culture wars. Exactly, and that's what we find ourselves in today. It's a huge deal. And I would argue though, like you were saying how like once you have nothing to lose, so like why like it's so much easier. And I definitely I agree. And like now even like I always think about like I'm scared of speaking my mind because I don't want to lose my footing where I'm at. But I would argue that the times when you do have stuff to fight for is when you stand your ground even harder. For one, as we've discussed, like I think it's like philosophically you want to be able to maintain your position, but also it's just that like it's also that if you establish yourself on the principles that you truly adhere to, for one, you get room to grow from it, and you also build up an environment that actually respects you for the kind of person that you are. Yeah. And so much now, and it comes with a lot of things, not only in like just beliefs, but like just how you are as a person. A lot of the time that when I try to bring up something that's not true to me, I end up feeling incredibly miserable because a lot of things are just a little bit off. And so we have to continue to focus to be really pure in our actions. Yes. So much I just see these fake masks put on everybody's face, and they're playing all these games. And at the end of the day, like I just want to see people. It's fucking boring. Like you pull up to university, you're at a party, you're like, bro, we all have this same. Like, what the fuck are we gonna talk about? Exactly. Everyone. Oh, let's just go fucking give fucking vodka more money now. Like, yeah. And that's something I like. Not. I don't want to like keep talking about the valedictorian thing, but that's something I said in my speech. It's like when you look back at the first day of high school, bro, we all had white Air Forces. Like every person in the room had white Forces on, and what they were doing is they're basically just suppressing their individuality and their own identity to conform that of the class. And I never owned a pair of white for whose benefit? For whose fucking benefit? Nike, exactly. Like Nike, like that's it. Like it's just for profit. But going back to that day, I like the first day of high school. I also didn't have white Forces, so I would look everywhere, and everyone had white Forces, and I was like, damn, like I don't have that. I pulled up in like weird ass shoes, bro. Like, cause I didn't have money, you know what I'm saying? So it's like everyone like tries to be the same, and it's like, yo, be different, like. Yeah, bro. And that's something people like realize as they like live life, but it's like
not enough people realize it though, because it's like our culture just it basically, if you're different, it tells everyone to be different, but be different in
Yeah.
a certain way that we can accept.
It doesn't really say that.
Because if you're
Yeah.
different, just different than what we think different should be, then now we're gonna suppress that.
Yeah.
It's a question of, can you find something in yourself that you have an itch to pursue and to stand for, because otherwise you're always playing into some other entity's game, typically
Yeah.
a corporation.
Yeah.
And having that as a value means that you prioritize it and then figure out how to deal with it, which is typically what happens in life. There are very, very little amounts of scenarios where you generally die. Usually it's that you figure out how to work with what you're given. So for example, you put the post forward, that's a fearless move. Then once it hits you back in your face, you figure out how to deal with it.
Yeah.
Not before you put the post, you say, oh, what if I can't become valedictorian because this comes back up? You say, no, I'm not going to put the post up. Same thing, like, for example, like, I went on YouTube. I'm just talking about my life from, like, a philosophical standpoint. Sometimes it gets kind of, like, in a way where, like, somebody might be like, some hiring manager might be like, this is a liability to me in our company.
Yeah.
So before I go and do the interviews, I make it private.
Yeah.
Fine. When I'm an entrepreneur full time, that'll no longer have to be a problem. However, I will be happy that I have this backtrack of videos rather than I just started doing this after I was already more successful in my goals.
Yeah.
For example, let's say a hiring manager doesn't want that. Well, what can we do? Are there any companies who are where the hiring manager is Christian? Check the fucking church pages. Right? Like when you have something in your values as a priority, you put it first and then you figure
That's
the
what
fuck
Jewish
out.
people do very well. Like, that's something I realized, like, in the Jewish community, they do it extremely
Yeah.
well. But
Yeah.
going back to what you said about dealing, we were having that conversation in the car about the like the Korean team and like the superconductors. And like that's something that I literally just heard about yesterday, because I have a friend, his name is he asked me like, yo Mike, did you hear about that? And I was like, I heard about it, but I didn't really like do research on it, so I didn't really have any knowledge. So when he spoke about it, I like started doing research.
Okay.
And we were like,
He lives beside me, by the way.
yeah, and like you guys were
We're talking about the superconductors that can
Superconductors,
run
yeah.
on room temperature.
yeah.
That paper.
So like how like they realized, okay, this American
Yeah.
guy came in, let me just release it prematurely
Yeah.
so that like if shit goes south, I still get my Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
And it's like it's
They
kind
get
of
the
funny
credit.
because like that's exactly what you're talking about. It's just about like how do you react to situations and how do you make sure that you get the advantage from it. Like who, that's something I never even would have thought about. Like you're working on a paper with a team and some
Yeah.
random like some new guy comes from a different country
Shit happens.
and you release the paper and what you need to understand is like
Kind of like when Drake's team fucking released that Fetty Wap song. Oh, no, sorry. Fetty Wap's team released that. Fetty Wap was making a song with a Drake feature, and then
Right.
Drake's team leaked it because they weren't liking the Fetty Wap version. So
yeah.
same shit, bro. Yo, everybody across the board, no matter whether you go
But like what
academia,
yeah.
pop, like it all
Like what you guys need to understand is like how intense the situation is. Like a superconductor that runs on room temperatures, like that alone gets you a Nobel Prize.
Yeah. No, for
It's
sure.
like it's one of those discoveries that they call it the Holy Grail, basically. Like it's one of those discoveries that people have been like searching for years and like decades, even low-key even centuries, because every like new like scientific like everything they find basically leads up to it to like
Mhm.
this.
Okay.
Every discovery about like electricity and like anything related to physics basically leads up to this. Like even just like the phones we use,
Mhm.
like that's something that would greatly impact the phones we use. So it's like it's such
It's a major leap.
yeah, like it's a really like a big thing. And you had this team of like Koreans, they were like, oh, you know
Yeah.
what, I'm not gonna like pass on this opportunity, let me just release it with 3 names.
Exactly. You can't hesitate. You gotta have that boldness, and that's something I used to have a lot. And I've only
Yeah,
been
bro, you used to be
recently-
bold, bro.
Oh yeah, I used to be bold, man. I used to do shit like
But
crazy.
too bold though. That
Exactly.
You need to find the
You gotta
balance.
twinkle, not outshine. And when it comes
Yeah.
to progression, a lot of the times people try to focus on, they have that ego
Yeah.
alongside with their confidence, and that's actually very dangerous because it becomes arrogance.
Yeah, I
And at
see
the
it.
end of the day,
I
no
have
matter
that.
how pure
I have some. Yeah.
So do I, man. But at the end of the day, like no matter how pure you may be, there's always gonna be people who are envious of your individuality. And I actually always find incredible inspiration from people who have that boldness with that authenticity ingrained in their character. And like I just wanna like the idea, the kind of character that I envision that I want to become is just like I'm trying to be like that. I want to be like that Einstein level character with that Gandhi level.
I see.
Genuineness, that Gandhi level.
Bro wants to be him.
Philanthropy. Yeah, of course you gotta be him, man. Like the competition is ever changing, and every day people become better. Not only generalists, but just masters at the specifics. And I'm trying to be like that, where you can be pretty much a master of anything. And a lot of these people are like, you see, like the more things you know, the more capable you are of knowing more things. And so like, like I commend, if it's in good faith, of the authors of that paper to be like, yo, like this is an opportunity of decades, as you said, of centuries.
I don't though.
You don't
like
commend them.
Thinking about it, I'm like, I feel
you
like
wouldn't have done it.
Nah, because maybe I probably would.
There's a difference. There's a difference.
Like what they did here is, for their own personal gain, they basically ruined the reputation of their research. Because now you see, like, if you start reading through articles, you see like articles basically criticizing their paper, because how could a team be so unserious and uncoordinated and like work so poorly together that they released 2 different papers with different names on it for the same project? You know what I mean? Like that in itself loses credibility in the scientific
I do
world.
agree with you, but for me, like I would have done the same thing if has it been. We're assuming that like the case was that like these invaders came in to try to take credit of the paper. Obviously, we don't know the whole nuances to that. And then the original contributors were like, okay, like I want to get what I was owed. Obviously, they're cutting off some people, and that's kind of bad. But like at the end of the day, bro, like that goes back to what we were just talking about, like fearing of disappointment in the short term for the long term validation. Because at the end of the day, like they're gonna, if you've made a legendary discovery, they're gonna talk to you about how you were as a legend. When they talk about Einstein, they don't say about all the silly things he did when he partied out all the time out in Germany and whatnot. And I'm sure there's mentions of it, but they just tell the story about how he's a legend. With Michael Jackson, there's a bunch of these allegations that he liked kids a little too much. But they don't really talk about him like that. And obviously, if he does something bad, he shouldn't get, like, maybe we shouldn't, bro. But they still talking to him about how the legend he is. And Michael Jackson did create incredible music. And it's like that, like. But at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do. Not in bad faith, obviously, but I don't know what the reality is, but for me, I take it as more of an edge to become more pure, more focused on building something and becoming a character that is genuine and also bold, because how else are you going to get where you want to be?
That character can, for their own gain, make other people lose, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Because what you said, because one thing that I want to add to when you say some other people feel envious, but some other people just generally collide. Yeah. So they might be revenge. They might want to get revenge on you after your real shit. After well, again, you take care of the problem afterwards, right? Like they want to get revenge. Okay, like we'll deal with that afterwards. But first, I'm gonna first I want to win this quick scenario, right? Like it's a matter of like your incentives just collided. So when you're talking about like Michael Jackson, like there were definitely like some artists who along the way he had to make sure that they lost, that he would win. And the thing is, it's most things are zero-sum games. And so,
but that's right.
And
that's right. There's
like,
no
for example,
nobility in making sure everybody wins. There's no nobility in making sure there are no losers.
Well, it doesn't matter if there's nobility. It's just impossible.
Exactly.
Because everybody can't.
But that's what
it
I'm
just
saying.
doesn't work.
For somebody, as our favorite man on earth said, for me to win, somebody else has to lose.
Yeah.
Right. And when we go and sell posters this upcoming September, our competitors, who are literally 50-year-old adults, will struggle to feed their kids. Like that's just how it is. So
Well, they won't struggle too hard. They make 40K a year, bro.
they make quite a bit.
They make quite a bit.
But eventually, once we take over the whole Canadian market with our somewhat innovative business model for this,
This
I mean,
like
they're
a super villain, bro.
their losses. Again, it's not about that. But
Yeah,
that's the
I
thing
know,
you said don't do it in bad faith.
Yeah, it's not.
It's just a matter of me achieving my goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like
That
you
is
happen
true.
like
Yeah.
Yo, like
get out of the way, or
if I get- exactly.
like
yeah.
you're finna get excavated. It's like
No,
like
that's it.
it's
Get
like
out
those
the way.
protests.
Like you gotta
Get
get
out
out
the
the
way.
way. Ooh. Oh, that's the one that they were jumping to in Ludacris, bro. It's like move.
Yo.
And then the whole time we go like move.
Yeah, we were all just, like,
running right
going
through.
forward.
bro.
Let me just get to the front.
Yeah, we were like, bitch, get out the way.
Get out the way, bitch. Get out the way.
But yo, like that's just it. Like it's not bad faith. Like like when I play football, man. Like if we ever lost a game, which we rarely did,
Yeah, because
But-
bro, this guy was a demon.
we don't play
that
games.
that was quite
This
the
guy's a
cohort.
demon.
That was
But
quite
like
the cohort.
yeah, like when we would win, like when we ever get close to losing, like and whenever we did lose, we would take it a reflection of us. We wanted to get better. We didn't care, but there were some times where people would play really fucking dirty, and like like that's when you get rage.
You know what
That's
I
when you
told
get
my
angry.
team yesterday
Yeah,
for the
what's that?
semifinals? I said if pride is the devil, let's be their fucking nightmares. Like if pride is gonna be the
Yeah.
devil, let's have pride in who we are, and make sure they dream about us.
Mm.
And then you know what happened? That team we tied like 19-19
Wow.
because of the ref. Like the
Wow,
last time,
so you
the
needed
last
that.
time we
You
played,
literally need that, or you would have lost.
yeah, like the last time we played, we tied them 19-19. We played them in Kingston.
Okay.
The ref was selling like the penalty count was like we had a number in like the high 20s and they had a number in the less than 10.
Wow.
So like she was calling every single stupid thing against us. This game yesterday we won 19-0. So
Whoa.
we scored the same number. The nightmare. And
Wow.
that ride to Kingston
Wow.
was silent. It had
Wow.
to. It had
Oh,
to.
the ride
fucking
to
be.
Kingston, yeah.
It had to be because
Yeah.
they went back. They came from Kingston for the semifinals.
Mm.
It had to be. So like, if pride is the devil, bro, let's be.
I mean, there was nothing to say afterwards. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's funny because this stuff used to be. I keep saying, I don't know if you can relate this, but like the way that I grew up, like in terms of the media that I consumed, in terms of the culture that like I lived in, like this shit was normal as fuck. Like it was always normal.
What
Like
was normal? Like competition.
yo, competition. Like we went to hockey games. Like this shit was important. Like our coach would
Yeah.
like bro, we were playing house league. I don't give a fuck. Like our coach was like actually getting so pissed at us
Yeah.
if we lost, right? Like they were doing this was normal, right? Like we were like 7, 8, 9. They were like, yo, no parents in the room. The parents were like, why the fuck? The moms were like, why we want to see our children? Like, yo, like stop. Like we got to teach these kids, right? Like I go online, like all I'm seeing is like fucking I'm watching How Much Money. I see like Barney Stinson, he's always wearing suits, right? I'm seeing that the kind of where you want to be is you want to be like corporate, you want to make a lot of money, you have to like conquer everybody, right? This is the kind of shit that and then somewhere along the line, I feel like it was around like COVID times.
People just.
I feel like it's just like when and the thing is everybody was talking about it and shit, but I never realized until like afterwards where I'm like damn, like what? And now I'm looking back, I'm like I don't see it anymore. Like I don't see anybody.
You don't see the competition.
I see the competition for sure, but in our culture it seems to be
Yeah.
very reversed
Yes.
in terms of what is pushed forward. Like
I agree.
Everyone wants
it's-
to feel like they
like-
don't want to see competition.
like they just want you to be depressed. Like
congratulations.
I don't
for
wanna sound like some fucking-
participating.
Yeah.
I'm saying. And the thing is,
Wow.
everybody was always talking about participation where I was like, like guys, why are you complaining about it? Like, it doesn't matter. And now it's like I'm in the back of this. I'm like, damn, like I don't see like any superheroes out there. And like again,
Yeah.
like I don't want to sound like some fucking the Matrix, but like genuinely, like it feels like it's bad. Like it feels like it's bad. It like I've been feeling like really bad if I ever have to do something where somebody else struggles because of me winning.
Because
And the
of your
craziest thing,
success, yeah.
especially when like they were in direct competition with me. This is okay.
Mm.
Like sometimes it's like if you're like driving and you just need to make that turn, so you just have to cut that person off and they get like mad at you. Like that's a little different, cause like then like you're basically impeding on their own. But bro, this has happened to me a few times where I'm generally like, what the fuck is going on? Where it's like you ever been like in a game where you're like competing against somebody? It's like fair. You might have even like agreed to compete earlier, and then once you win, they
feel
get
bad.
so mad.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
like I've generally
Family
been,
monopoly, man.
I generally get flabbergasted by this shit. Where no, what they're like questioning. They're like, why'd you? They're like, they're like, why'd you go so hard? Like, why?
Yeah.
I'm like,
it's like, yo,
dude, we were literally playing it wasn't even like my game, like intertwined with your game, and I had to like go over. It's literally like, in which case I'm still like, bro, get some perspective. Like, we're all out here trying to achieve our own goals. But when you're literally competing against them on the same thing, I can't think of a specific example. Like, you know how like how fucking weird this is? Like, how are you coming at me for beating you in the same shit that you fucking wanted to win? Like, what the, like, get some fucking perspective. Like, if you were in my shoes, like, you would have done the same fucking thing. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
So I feel like this shit never existed when I was younger. Like, it was always like, yeah, like, they lost, like, do better.
You lost, suck it up, be better.
Like, yeah, like, it was always like, be better. Like, I don't know, like, I feel like,
that's what I do with my brothers. Like, I notice, like, now everyone wants to like give participation trophies.
Like,
and
people
all that.
hate
Nah,
this shit.
fuck that.
Like, it's so weird. If I tell somebody, like, yeah, just be better, like, they're like, oh my god, how could you?
Yeah, yo,
like,
we're
what
so
the fuck,
disconnected.
yo, man, how could, like,
yes.
what else are you gonna do? Like, what do you want me to tell you? Fucking go cry? Like, what the fuck?
No, we're actually so disconnected, bro.
Like,
Like you see that everywhere, man. Even our students, bro. Like, people don't realize, like, yo, like, you're about to live on your own soon. Like, they spending their money left and right, going to the clubs, destroying their health, destroying their bodies, destroying their minds, not building for the future. Well,
and then the second some shit happens, they fucking cry.
Yes, they break down, man. They can't handle
I'm like,
it.
I don't care if you're living your life. That's fine.
Oh my
but
god, like this guy at the club, he didn't want me. Oh my gosh. Like, shorty, bro, like, I have to feed my kids, my family.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, yeah, like, yo, be professional.
There's a camera right there. Be professional.
Yo, like, we can't afford the medical cream for my little brother. Like, I gotta work, I gotta grind, I gotta pay my phone bills.
They're always saying this shit. They're always like, oh, I gotta work. I'm like, the fuck you mean you
gotta
work? Like, we all gotta work.
We all gotta work. That's what we do it out here.
Does it have to be
like it's almost like this. Like, yo, we used to debate socialism and capitalism all the time. That's fine. That was debate. We used to do that shit all the time. And sometimes they brought up great points on both sides. But now it's almost like so many of these motherfuckers, like, it's just like implied to them. Like, it's literally like they pull up, they're like,
oh,
they start crying. I'm like,
you know how I'm going into university now?
Yeah.
It's about tuition, like.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh, this should be free. This should be free. Like, this is too expensive.
I'm like, who paying for this shit, bro? Like who's gonna?
Who's
I'm
gonna
like, somebody gonna have. Like,
someone built these buildings.
Like,
this cost $1 million.
Like that professor needs a salary, bro. Like,
someone
went to IKEA and thought this was fire. This was fire chairs, bro.
Like,
I didn't pay for this.
Like, okay, university is expensive, yes.
Yeah,
the government should make it cheaper, yes. And what, like,
yeah,
you gotta work for it, bro. Like, you can't.
Of course.
See, if someone gives it to you, that means someone paid for it. Now, who's gonna pay for it?
That's the thing. It's a matter of there's no economic understanding of fucking economic.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I just said there's no economic understanding of economics.
Business student, right?
Like
there,
there's
like,
no, but it's not even. You don't just like you don't have to be a fucking mathematics major to know that 1 + 1 = 2.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a fucking econ/business major or take econ in university to know that fucking resources require other resources to be exchanged. Like, what the fuck? Like,
yes, bro. Like, people just expect them to get. They just
expect like, oh, I had such a bad day. I had to put gas in my car. It's so expensive. I'm like,
did you see that Starbucks worker who cried because they had to wear like a normal shift?
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Yes,
I've not seen that.
Okay, so
I have seen that.
Yeah, the guy or the girl, I don't even know what it is. So it was.
Who can even tell these days? Huh? Yeah.
Yeah. So it was crying.
Yeah.
Because apparently it had to work and it was under stress. And it's like,
yo, hold on.
Stress.
Chill with the edge. Chill with the edge. Just say they. Say they, bro. Say they, man.
I didn't even notice it, bro.
They were crying
yeah.
because they were under pressure to work full-time job. And I'm like, okay, like you.
Yeah.
Did you go to university? Like, is that not the job you read the description for?
Yeah.
Applied to? Went to an interview for?
This shit.
Commuted to every
My
single
fucking
day.
teacher in grade 7, I called her on this. She got so pissed because I remember she gave us one test question in grade 7 where she was like, she was basically like asking, do you think it's like correct that I need to clean up after you guys and all this shit that we can, she like, do you think that we should keep doing Yeah. And yo, Miss Taggart, I really did not like you today.
That was good. That was so quick. That was so quick.
That
was really good. That was really good.
Like
this guy.
Bro had to silence it. Bro had to say nah. Anyways, bro, keep going.
I'm just like, that's exactly what I'm like. It says, I'm like, you applied for this fucking job. Like what'd you expect? It's not a high school. And you're right. It's the stress thing. It's the stress tolerance. That's what it was. Like, I guess through the media I watched, like, stress became such a bad thing. Cause I was on some meditation shit and stuff. And like, I was trying to do that to be like, more
I was
effective.
trying to take ashwagandha, bro.
What's that?
Ashwagandha.
What's that?
I have that. I've never used it though. I don't
Nah?
know the implementation.
Bro,
implications
it's
of it.
basically just it helps deal like regulate your like emotions and like,
Really?
stress tolerance. Like
Yeah.
it basically dulls your world. Like
Dulls it.
you become more chill. Like you
Bro, that's just sweet, dog. Like,
no, but hold on.
I wanted to do research into
Like with
more
ashwagandha, the
supplementation.
way it works is basically like if you take it, like okay, obviously it's not like a crazy like
yeah.
like herb that's meant to like change your entire perception of the world, but
Yeah.
like, you're just gonna be more chill. Like you're gonna live your life with less stress. You're gonna like your recovery is probably gonna speed up. So it's kind of like weed, but it's not exactly weed because it's not as like it's not weed is temporary where it's like it's like you feel it and then
This
it
one's
goes
more
away.
sustainable.
Yeah, like this is just like you just take it and you go on with your normal.
I'd
day.
like to do research on that.
like you function normally,
Mhm.
so you think properly.
Yeah.
I'm just
Do
worried
you-
about.
do you
like,
struggle with that?
hindering that?
No, the thing is, bro, I didn't end up taking it. Like I found it, I didn't
Yeah.
buy it.
Okay. Okay.
But at that particular time, I was like, bro, I low-key just want to be chilling, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but then now I think about it, I'm like, nah, like,
Yeah.
thing is
Who
have to
told
be
you want to
careful.
chill?
You have to be
Huh?
careful.
Who
with
told
that.
you want to chill?
no, just me. Like,
You
No,
have
what
to
I'm saying,
be- yeah.
I'm saying why did you come to that conclusion?
like, cause the thing I realized is like, I like being in that state. Like, I like.
Who doesn't?
Like, I just like being like. I don't really like feeling high emotions and low emotions. Like, I'd rather just be in a constant
Mellow?
state. Yeah. But
Yes,
at the
yes.
same time, I still want some sort of like. I don't want to be in a state of like anhedonia where it's like I don't feel pleasure at all or I'm just living.
Right.
I want to be like, I still want to experience the highs and the lows, just not to like the same extent because like, it like, when you're like depressive or whatever, you're feeling like,
Mhm.
or like there's a symptom called like anhedonia. It's like,
No, I know. What
yeah, you feel no
understand.
pleasure. Like you're just living through. It's like a dark cloud basically. Like
Mhm.
it
Yeah.
follows you
Yeah.
every day.
You gotta be careful with, and I have
Yeah,
no,
that's why.
no research.
That's kind of why I was like, you know what?
Um,
Like I'm not gonna
yeah,
I'm not
of
gonna
course.
go down that path.
But like that's why like I actually like really I frankly I'm scared of using any substance that alters your brain chemistry in any
Yeah.
way
yeah.
because like you actually can tell it. And I remember like I used to party back in the day, which also is like crazy. Like if I was grinding during that time, they're completely different. But you actually can genuinely feel like the difference in how your brain functions.
yeah.
And that's super dangerous. And I understand what you're trying to say. Like you want to be super calm. I disagree with the like not wanting to feel the emotions. I actually want to feel more emotion, but like that's just a personal thing. But like in terms
Mhm.
of like the cognitive function,
Yeah.
a lot like I think we were, as you were saying, talking about managing stress. A lot of people are a lot of focused on comfort,
Yeah.
which you hear in discussion a lot.
Everybody.
Everybody,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Everybody.
I love comfort. That's
But
the
I'm
problem.
all about
that's
comfort.
dangerous
yeah.
because like in reality like there are a lot of uncomfortable decisions that you're gonna have
Yeah.
to make, and a lot of uncomfortable conversations that you'll have to have with not only yourself but people around you. And if it goes back to everything we were just talking about. Like if you hesitate, if you don't stick up to what's needed to be done, it's something is gonna be lacking. Something's gonna be pulling you down.
Yeah.
And I mean like I try to maximize all the ways that I could really perceive the world. And every time I do something that kind of like brings me to like a state of like I guess like chill, like comfort,
Mm-hmm.
I can really see like my brain function go down, like genuinely. And
Right.
even
Oh,
when
you
we
just
were-
don't like think as like.
yeah, it's like an escape.
Well, yeah.
It's
I see
genuinely
what
an
you mean.
escape. And in terms of like life, like in terms of peace,
Yeah.
frankly, like I mean like
Okay, this is gonna sound really fucked up,
yeah.
but have you ever felt like the moments where you were like the most creative and like the smartest is when you the most depressed? Like
Yes.
that's something I've realized.
In
like,
times of most pressure, I have been the most
Are you talking about
powerful.
depression
being
or
I've ever
pressure?
seen.
depression.
Pre-
Like depression.
depression.
Yeah. Like not okay. Like not extreme depression, but like when you're living through like a period of your life where you're like everything is just bad.
Yes.
You feel it's like for me, for example, like when I went back to Togo, for example, and like leading up to that, like before that, like end of grade 10, beginning of grade 11, That's when I low-key felt like the most creative ever. Like I would have like all these philosophical like reflections on my own. Just watch all these videos. Like I could just feel the creativity like oozing through my.
And do you feel more at peace when you're there?
No.
Interesting.
So now the more peaceful and happy I am, the more comfortable I am. Like my brain just doesn't work the same way.
That's interesting.
I feel. And I just feel like it doesn't perform as well. Maybe it's because I realize the importance of comfort, so I don't push myself as much. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like
I mean, like, there's no problem to solve.
Like, I feel like that's also why you look at some of these like great philosophers and they weren't happy people.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I feel like
But they were at peace.
Read
Marcus Aurelius and Aristotle, and they would say for the most, I mean, while they did have like quite,
I question whether they were at
lives.
peace when they were finding the answers.
Yeah.
In fact, I think they must have been in great distress. Because
of course.
in order to care about philosophy so much, then you probably must think that you must be in a constant existential crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I would say that maybe I'm diverging from what you were saying, but I find there's like a threshold for me when in bouts of extreme creativity, and I feel like I become the character that I want to become when I'm in the most extreme amounts of pressure. And there's a threshold where like coming up to that point of extreme stressful and problematic situations that I'm actually super adverse to it. I really hate it. And then once I hit that threshold, once I pass it, I peak. It's like a runner's high. I'm running so damn hard.
That's why you can and then learn so much right before exams.
Exactly,
like,
of course.
Right before exams, you literally learn like the full. That's basically the whole thing of summer school. Like you learn.
Yeah,
the whole
summer school. Yes, I was trying to mention earlier.
I think a lot of
like
people,
when like you talking about how you did those 2 years. Like when I did summer classes, like those are so stressful, and I was like, damn, like I wish I had this the whole year.
Yeah. Bro.
I didn't even know how you set it up, where you had like a bare
Bro,
classes and bare years.
I just needed 13 credits because I did summer school like every summer. So what I did is when I came back, I did like this super easy course in like 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks. And then in July, I took another course in summer school. It was e-learning. And in August, I took functions e-learning, bro. That shit was tough. Because then there's no teacher. Like, it's just you. And like, we had like, so there was like 7 units for 21 days, right? Every unit had a quiz, an assignment, a test, and a summative. So you basically go through like
every unit?
Yes. So 20 like it was like
it's a very like process
quick.
Like go.
You definitely can tell me about the hyperbola.
It wasn't the OCDSB school board. It was the Durham district school board.
Oh shit.
So I was just going through that shit like, damn, like yo, this is hard. And then because I did those 3 courses like each like 2-3 weeks, 3 weeks in the summer, like 2-3 like before, I just needed 10 during the normal school year. So I just did 10. So then when you add like my summer plus like the normal school year, which is like 10 months, then that's how I did like the 13 credits.
And how did you feel as you were doing that?
The thing is, because the Canadian education is so light,
right?
It wasn't hard. Like,
okay,
I feel like that's something I never could have done in France.
Okay.
Because in France, like,
they would have held you to a higher standard.
Even in Togo, like, something I realized, if I had gone to school in Togo, even though it's like a third world country, I would have been one of the worst students.
Right.
Because, like, to make it out of that education system, you basically have to be, like, the best of the best. Here in Canada, it's designed for everyone to graduate.
Yeah. Lowest common denominator.
Exactly.
Yeah, but in terms of how you're feeling, I wanted to go back to what you guys were talking about just before that. So, because you're talking about this kind of runner's high that you get after an enormous amount of pain.
Yeah.
And I think there is actually nobody can really deny this, that there is actually a set of experiences that like you only experience after something happens, after like a certain amount of maturity, whatever.
Yeah.
And like, I actually don't know, because I've barely even experienced, I've actually only experienced what I think, and that's why I have to say what I think you're talking about, only once in my lifetime. This is one time in university. Yeah. Interestingly, I told Duchenne about this because I remember like his song started playing in the background, and it's funny enough because literally I was talking to Duchenne about the actual like meaning of that specific song,
right?
And he's like, it was kind of interesting because Duchenne was like, yeah, like the kind of surface level lyrical meaning of that song actually didn't come through to me until that moment when I was like under a lot of stress.
Right.
I was like setting up like a quick Instagram post for my print business, and I was playing the song, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is what it's about.
Yeah.
And then I text him, I'm like, is this what the song's about? He's like, yeah, like, like what the fuck? And I'm like, damn, that's actually crazy. But anyways, yeah, I think the thing I like thought of a few days ago was like, there's these like two euphorias. Like the first one is when you know your purpose and you can feel that you know it very well. The second one is when you know your purpose and you're under a shit ton of or like very aware of your purpose and you're under a shit ton of stress.
Right.
And the second one is fucked euphoria, like crazy, because not only are you like very aware of your purpose, but that's actually not the important part. You are working tirelessly, just like going at it to fulfill that, and that's what you combine, right? You know your purpose very well, and you're under a shit ton of stress. When you're under a shit ton of stress, and it's not really clear to what end that is, or the end to what that is clearly not very important to you, then you're in a bit of a shitty situation. But like, for example, I'll ask you, like, how did you feel when you made that Instagram post about like the like how Christians should handle Pride Month? How did you feel?
Like after the backlash or before?
Before, after, whatever.
So as I was posting it, like I was actually feeling really good. Like I was proud that I posted it because like I realized like a lot of people need guidance.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't get that guidance because the people supposed to provide that guidance are scared.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then the way I felt after the backlash was I felt even better. Like I didn't feel good during as it was happening. 'Cause I was like, yo, like this is annoying. Like I'm supposed to be enjoying this moment, right? But after it happened, it gave me even more courage to post about these things.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, so now I know people are watching. You know, now I know people are actually paying attention. Like, they're not just skipping through my stories. They're actually reading.
Right. Interesting.
So it gave me even more, like, I felt good.
Yeah. I don't want to try to mold your experience into something that it's not, but the way that like you can use an example here is that if you ever felt bad during the experience, then what if it was very clear in your head that this is actually to my cause?
Yeah.
Like I want to spread the Christian message, and so this stress is 100% worthwhile. And there's always this thing of like, oh, and what I'm doing like is the outcome of this kind of like good enough for the I'm putting in? And if you're always thinking about this, in my experience, when I was always thinking about what I'm doing right now, like worth it for what I'm going to get out of it, this was a problem because there's always this like delay where I always have to think like, is it worth it? Is it worth it? And then obviously that essentially makes that my base purpose is to be comfortable. Yeah. And then my secondary thing is something has to come up and switch me up. And then, I try to flip it. I try to find an internal purpose. Yeah. And then have enough faith in that purpose throughout every moment to not have to make that question because there's enough faith that it works out. You don't have to logically deduce that it is perfect because obviously, as they all say, you can only connect the dots backwards. Yeah. So of course, maybe afterwards you can say, oh, this was worth it, this was not worth it. But if you have enough faith is really the only thing that can push you forward in every single moment, because it's nearly impossible. It's and realistically almost every time impossible to actually be able to make all the logical connections in a moment.
You can only have so much information, so many variables to keep track of.
At some point you need a purpose pushing you that you have a like divine amount of faith in.
I think Seneca said, if any man who has a why can bear any how, or maybe that was Nietzsche, but at the end of the day, like
and we've seen it play out in the great people in humanity all the time.
Yes, they have to have faith. Like you even see it like Elon Musk discussing how he's like, yo, like I have, like, it was like in 2008, he like both of his companies were about to die, Tesla and SpaceX, and he was like yo, like I gotta either put money into one of them.
I had 100 mil, I could either put 50 in both and they'd probably both die, or I could put 100 in one.
Exactly.
And then
he
one
put
would
50 in both because like you gotta have faith that
and that might have been one of those moments. Maybe what you're talking about is that moment where you pair deep awareness of why you're doing things with a deep amount of stress. Because again, the only thing better than being really aware of what your point and place in this world is working tirelessly to fulfill it.
Yeah. And that's why you gotta be bold, man. That's why you gotta be pure. You gotta keep moving forward, because like
conquer your dreams.
Absolutely. And anyone who tells you that you can't have it all, they're lying to you because they don't have anything that they want. So
I mean, chill out.
It's true.
Chill out.
It's true though. Like think of everybody. Like You know, like,
Nah, but do you know what I want, bro? I used to pray to be able to fly.
yo, you could get that, bro. I could make that for you. Put you in a robot soon
No,
enough,
I mean
bro.
like, bro.
I'll put you in a
He wants,
robot.
to, he wants to fly, bro. Like he wants
I
to
want
fly.
to fly, bro.
Yo, we can give you some substances. You'll feel like you're flying, bro.
Yeah.
We know a guy.
Nah, off camera. That's tight shit.
That's a subsidiary of Motive, bro. That's another company we're starting. But yeah, man. Yo, honestly, man, like, look, I want to change the note a little bit, but like, yo, I just want to say, like, when I came to university or beforehand, like, I was so worried, like, shit was about to be tough, and it is. It's so tough.
It has to be.
But of course, it has to be, as we've discussed. But you also can have so much fun with it.
Yeah.
I make a great deal of trying to get it through Andrew's head and my brother's, that like you got to be able to milk every single experience,
Bro,
and that's what I try to do. I try to
When you
have
say that,
all of the little
Yeah.
opportunities you can. Not only can you have immense value from learning and whatever, but you also could just like, bro, like you could giggle, man. You could have some funny shit happen to you,
Yeah.
bro. You could take the piss out of somebody and in good faith, lightheartedness, bro. You can have all the fun that you want, man. Like,
Well, that's kind of how I realized that I was, like, I wanted to be a lawyer, because when I went to the mock trial, like that fight, like during the semifinals, like some like circumstance that like we never could have thought about, like it happened. Like if I wanted to explain it, it'd be like so long, but like I was stressing because during the actual trial, I had to basically change my cross-examination questions on the spot, and then change my closing argument, because the way it works with the closing arguments is you can only talk about what happened throughout the case. You're not allowed to bring out evidence that, or like facts that weren't like accepted by both parties, right? And I was stressing, bro. My heart, I could feel, you know, when you you feel your heart is
Yeah.
pumping, like it's almost like you can hear, and you're
know.
starting to sweat, bro. Like I was in the suit, I was like buttoned up,
yeah,
and I was, bro,
drenched.
yo,
No,
literally, bro.
no, you're right. Yeah, you have to get used to, because it's another thing being in a
And I
suit stress. You have to get
bro.
used to, you know, like
And the
Suit
tie-
kinda
and the
stretch.
tie was
Choking you, bro, like a boa, man.
And bro,
That's
I
crazy.
fucking loved that stress.
yeah.
I
yes.
loved it, bro.
That's the journey,
Like, and that's when I realized, like, yo, like, there's fun in situations that are like
Oh,
tough
yeah.
to manage. Like, if everything is easy, bro, where's the fun in that, bro?
man. Of course.
It gotta be hard. Like, it
Yeah.
gotta be hard. It gotta be tough, bro. Like,
But yo, like, and I find like the most fascinating people are the people who can handle under all that stress and very bluntly like make such incredibly creative jokes out of it.
yeah,
Like,
there you go. Tie it back to your cause. Go
oh,
ahead.
yeah. Oh yeah. Of course,
Oh,
man. Yo,
yeah.
I'm a lawyer too. Don't worry, man.
tight shit.
But yo, yeah.
If you were my lawyer, I'd be worried, bro.
Yeah, bro.
really, you
I'd
think
represent
so?
myself. Tight
I'd
shit.
love to.
Oh, yeah.
Yo, I'd love to have a mock trial, bro. I'd like to
Bro.
see how that would work, bro.
You'd
But
fucking pay off the judge in the back. That's what you do.
hey, man, yo, listen, bro. We gotta play the game, bro.
There's
We
multiple
play all
ways
the
to win.
variables. Exactly. You gotta be aggressive.
Bro,
But
that's
yeah-
literally what the team that beat us did, though.
What?
Let me not talk to the judge, but let me talk. Let me give a full like quick story. So
That's parking
so
lot.
when you like
That's hands.
in like case like competition like
Parking
in,
lot.
That's
in like
that's a
case
parking
like
lot, bro.
in like competitive mock trials, you have an agreed like statement of facts. So there's like evidence that was brought in that both parties agreed to.
I think that's similar in like real law as well.
Yeah,
Maybe that's
no, like it's real law and like
No, they do that to mimic.
yeah,
like,
yeah,
actually.
and like
It's a mock trial.
the
Yeah,
reason
I know. Yeah,
the reason
I
we
see it.
do that is because there's like a lot. It's like the stitched comb law, and basically what it means is the Crown Counsel is like you have the obligation to disclose everything to the defense counsel before the trial happens. That way, like they can actually defend themselves. You know what I mean? And so the way it happened is, the police officer, which was like the detective sergeant in the case, got a bunch of like evidence, and some of the evidence he sent into testing, but he didn't wait for the results before like proceeding with the trial. Like he didn't wait for the weapon of assault to come back with the DNA testing. He didn't wait for the shirt to come back with the DNA from the blood.
It's a hella sophisticated
So-
mock trial.
So no, but we literally had like
No, that's the
yeah,
the
it's
point.
supposed
That's
to
the
mimic.
point.
Like it has to be
Yeah.
like it was in the city court.
It's an opportunity for leverage.
Yeah. So then, what he got was like, inconclusive testing from like the pants and the shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So our defense was basically we were just grilling the detective. Like that was my job. Like just discredit the detective.
Oh, was it on purpose that the detective did that? Like, was
no,
it?
he
part of-
forgot. Like he didn't
Like,
follow
this
proper
genuinely-
procedure because
that's crazy.
that was his third investigation that he was in the lead of.
Wow.
So I was basically just discrediting him to make a case that there's reasonable doubt that the person I'm defending like didn't actually do it, right?
That's crazy.
But then
ending this man's career before it started.
but then what happened is the team that we were going against, the 5 minutes before the trial started, their teacher went to our teacher and got our teacher to agree that the results actually came back that day and that it came back inconclusive.
No.
So basically, the reason this was so important is because I could no longer discredit the police officer for not doing his job properly. Because now there's actually results. And even though they're inconclusive, now like you can it's kind of hard
I
to
know
like,
exactly what you mean.
and so
I watched Suits.
so
I'm
then
a little bit of a lawyer.
yeah,
myself.
so like the reason it was so bad of a move is because they're not allowed to do that.
No, yeah.
But the
it's fine.
reason they got away with it is because my teacher agreed. So because they agreed on it, the people like who were hosting the tournament, it was like by the Ontario Bar Association and the Ontario Justice Education Network, like the two were working on it. The Ontario Justice Education Network, who were like in the lead like for the event, they basically let them go to the finals because we agreed to it. And so it was even like I felt like shit because when I went in the trial, my teacher specifically told me, "Don't object," because like when the trial starts, you have the opportunity to object because the teacher gave a verbal agreement, but it wasn't written anywhere. So I could have been like, "Nah, we object."
Did
like,
you?
we don't accept.
Did you?
No.
And
So
that's why you feel bad.
I didn't object to it. So I was like, you know what? Let me just follow what the teacher said. But I had that moment of hesitation that you were talking about earlier in this podcast, where it's like those moments where you hesitate and then you see the consequences of that hesitation
Immediately.
because
bro.
I wanted to say no and I stayed silent for those few seconds, and then the judge proceeded with the trial.
Wow.
So then we lost by 2.5 points, bro, and it's out of 120 points.
Wow.
So you can kind of see like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would
So
have not slept
that
that
team
night, man.
literally went to the finals, and I like every other team didn't really care. So there's one team that came to watch the finals, and then me, like my teacher and a couple friends. It was literally like the biggest like hall in this, like the biggest like room in the city court. 3 judges like on the case. They had the people in front of the laptops, mics, cameras, like the actual place where the person being tried is sitting.
Sophisticated.
It was nice, and like they won that final by 1 point.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I was looking back like,
You
if
could've won.
we beat them,
Yeah.
we would have won. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And
Wow.
bro, like that's an example of the guy holding the the bar like right to your chest when you were playing fair.
He's pinning you
up.
down, man.
If like like that's literally exactly what happened for us. Like we could have been like, you know what, fuck y'all. Who cares about verbal
Exactly.
agreements? It wasn't written. It wasn't serious. Who cares?
Bro, I
could've
wouldn't
been
have
like,
slept that night.
I would have been like, oh, nah, I object.
Yeah.
It's
like,
against the rules, right? But nah, because I was like, you know what? We said yeah, let's go with it. We fucking lost 2.5
Wow.
points, bro. I looked at the score sheet, like they sent it to us like a week or 2 later because they didn't want to give it to us like right away. So they sent it to everyone, like their individual score sheets. Bro, I calculated the difference, bro. And that day I was so fucking mad.
You'll never make that
2.5.
mistake again, though.
Never, bro.
Could
I
never,
don't
bro.
care how dirty I gotta play, bro.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even dirty though.
Nah,
Like,
it's in line. You just didn't stand up for
I
yourself.
I was like, bro.
And that's when it hurts the most, when it's like it's not even like an aggressive play. It's like that's like
Yeah.
play.
And you can't have anything but respect for them
Yeah.
to some extent, because I hated them at the beginning.
But they still won.
But then I remember I'm like, yo, this is a law mock
Yeah.
trial.
they still
This
beat
is
you.
law. Like, who's supposed to be nice? Like, you're not gonna have a case in real life, and the lawyers are gonna come smiling at you and like, nah, like,
It's people's lives at stake.
Exactly.
Maybe this generation's lawyers, but you'll beat them. You'll play games with them, man.
So like I was so cheese, but now, hey, respect.
Yeah, of course. Like you gotta respect the competition, man.
Yeah.
As long as it's in good faith, bro. But like, yeah, it's when like it's all in your hands, bro. Like that's when it hits you. Like, oh shit, like
Bro,
I
that
made a mistake.
hesitation was tough.
I made the
bro.
wrong call.
And for like a week straight, I couldn't
Yeah.
swallow it, bro.
Yeah.
Because the
bro.
thing with me, I low-key got so much pride that like coming is basically top 4. Like that's who wants
Top 4.
like what is that?
Four is the death number in Chinese.
Like
man.
you know, like there's really
yeah.
oh shit exactly
Can't
like
have that, bro.
like-
Gotta be top 1, man.
there was like 15 teams like schools, and the thing is, if we won, it would have been such a crazy story because that was our first year doing a mock trial. Like
Yeah.
we never
I was
did that
about
at
to say,
SRB.
never heard of SRB doing a mock trial.
But these teams have been doing it for years
Right.
and years and
Yeah.
years. So we were like the underdogs.
Wow. Like there's a universe where you were the
Bro,
interceptors, man.
so,
you
like,
just came in and
basically-
ran the shit.
We would have came first year. We started practicing a bit late, and then we literally went through the case, learned the facts, prepared our defense, did everything. Fucking lost in semis, bro.
You could have wiped the floor with them, man.
Bro,
One decision. Think about that.
bro,
One decision could.
it was so annoying, bro.
And that's the thing. Like I'm so scared of being in a position where one decision could have changed so much.
And like the thing is, if I came first in that mock trial, imagine the doors it would open.
Yes, exactly.
Because what I did at the end of the trial is I found the judges on LinkedIn, and I just like connected with them, right?
Yeah, but first in your message is different than fourth.
Exactly. So in my message, all I could be was like, oh, like I'm glad for like the experience, and but imagine I was first. I
Yeah.
could be like, hey judge, like you saw my performance. Build a connection with them. From there, it would be so much easier to get into like law associations and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like right now, I'm trying to get into the Varsity Blues mock trial team. It's for like UFT.
Yeah.
And like I'm looking through like the people in, because it's like a really selective group, and this is an experience I can't really put on my resume because I can't be like, oh, I came top 4 in the
Yeah.
mock trial.
No, I know.
But if I was like, we came first in the Eastern Ontario competitive mock trial,
Yeah.
know,
no,
like,
of course.
that is that holds weight, you know.
And that's my feeling when I make these mistakes, because it's
Yeah.
like now you have to catch up. You have
Yeah.
to grind to catch up, man.
It's
You have
like
to
now
grind.
what?
Exactly. Now it's like fuck. Like either you give up and you change a different path, or you really gotta catch up. And that's the worst feeling, knowing that you could have been in a better position if you just made a little bit of a different decision. And it's always
Yeah.
the smallest decisions, man.
Always.
It seems like it's so small, but it builds up so
Yeah.
fast. And I hate that shit, man. And like those, like I try to be so aware of them. And like every time like I feel that, like it's always a little battle in my head everywhere I go, bro. Even when I
Yeah.
wake up at bed, I have a hesitation. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't stretch this morning. Like I'm kind of lazy. I'm like,
bro,
you try to get the height surgery, man. You gotta be flexy bexy so you can lengthen your legs, bro. But it's like stuff like that.
I'm tired
man.
of being 5'7".
Fuck
I'm
that
tired
shit.
of being short. I'm
tired.
tired.
I'm tired out here. Who's gonna carry these boats, man?
Bro, I literally felt that though, like, cause I injured my leg playing rugby, like my ankle and my knee, whatever.
Mm.
And bro, it's a constant battle. Like, yo, fuck, do I ice, bro?
Oh yeah.
The ice baths got me questioning life. Cause bro, I'm West African, so like I don't have that tolerance.
You're built for the
cold.
heat.
So I put, bro, it's so bad to the point where if I put my foot in ice, like just my ankle and like here, like up to like midway through my calf almost, my knee starts hurting, bro. Like, and it's not normal because
It goes
Jeez,
up the
man.
kinetic chain.
because
That's
the,
crazy.
the way it works is
That's
like the cold contracts your knee joints basically. You just
Yeah.
it starts hurting, bro. So I'm like, yo, it got to the point where if I want the ice, bro, I literally gotta put motivational speech on.
Yeah.
Gotta get in the fucking zone. I gotta be like, yo,
Got JP
I'm about to do this
playing.
shit. But then what I realize is when I'm all those days I'm hesitating, I'm like, you know what? I ain't gonna do it. You know what? I'm not gonna do it. Got back on the field, hurt that same leg again.
Yeah.
But this time it's the sprain is higher. So
Yeah.
now it's worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like all those like mornings that you woke up or those nights before going to sleep and you're like, I don't want to ice today.
Yeah.
I don't want to rehab today. I don't want to like do the mobility and all that. Nah.
Yeah. No, I
Like,
know what you mean, bro.
it builds up.
I had the
bro.
same thing,
it
man.
catches you
Yeah.
back.
Yo, I dislocated my shoulders, and I tore the AC
Ooh.
joint here. That was from dirty football, man. That shit pissed me off, bro.
Mhm.
But yo, like we were literally playing, bro. We were beating this team really, like we were just good, bro. What the fuck?
Yeah, bro. It's the Broncos, right?
Exactly.
the Broncos,
That's what
right?
we did. That's what we did.
That's how we do it out here.
Yeah,
Type shit,
exactly.
you know what I'm
exactly,
saying?
exactly,
Type
Tight shit. But yo, we were eating and like bro, like I was just walking downfield.
Baptizing kids.
Yeah, no, but like the play was over.
Oh.
Yeah, the play was over. I was just literally just chilling.
Okay.
And we were just walking. Play was over. I was walking like back. We did kick off. Suddenly, bro, I'm on the floor. I'm like, what happened? How'd that happen? And bro, like the worst pain in my shoulder, bro. Like I've never felt that before. And I was like, what the fuck, man? And like this random ass fat kid, I'm gonna find you someday, bro. And I'm actually gonna make you pay for this shit.
Oh, we'll find you.
Oh yeah, we'll find you, bro. You're gonna give me 40 billion.
And it's pretty easy to find too. Just the name of the team. You go on the roster.
Find the roster.
You put them online. You find the team. You find the roster. You find
bring
the
them into
number.
a room.
Yeah.
One down.
You're paying for my
single room
surgery
for each
spread.
one of them, bro.
Oh,
Yeah.
we'll find
Done
you.
in 10
No, but
minutes.
this one kid, bro, he literally just
And
jumped
we'll
on
do
me.
it legally too. Don't worry about it. We got you.
We got lawyers here, bro.
We got you.
We may
But,
not
like,
do
I
it
actually have,
legally,
like-
but we'll definitely make it seem legal.
Yeah,
That's
type
what-
shit.
You know what I'm saying?
Dude, like this guy, like actually fucked me up. Like he like I still have shoulder pain to this day,
Oh, shit.
and it was all just because he was trying to play dirty. But you know, like shit like that, bro. Like that's a different story. But like, yo, I felt the same thing. Like every day, I was like, bro, like
Yeah.
I didn't wanna ice it. I was like, I'm tired of this. Wants to pay this, go away. Like this is like so annoying to deal with
Yeah.
every single day. But I'm so glad, like. Yo, like, yeah, and icing it, yo, that shit just started to hurt, bro. Like, I'd feel it go down my fucking neck and my spine. Like, I'd feel like frostbite and
Pain
shit,
is
bro.
real,
Yes.
bro.
And I
The
would do
pain
it.
is real.
And, bro, like, it was so hard, but, like, and I still have pain to this day.
That made me
but
test my manhood, bro.
yeah.
I feel like a
bro.
bitch. Like I on some real shit. Like scared of ice, bro. It's
Yes.
really water, bro.
Bro,
like,
I have, like, these elastic bands. I'm like, yo, I can't even lift it up
Yeah,
here, bro.
oh,
Like,
I
I'm
know
a
that pain,
bitch, bro.
Bro, I fuck my shoulders doing rugby too, bro. Like the mobility now is so bad. Like this is the furthest I can go without pain, bro.
That's
So it's like,
crazy.
I need to rehab.
Without
that.
pain, I think like I have no range, like my whole range of motion I have pain, but my strengths come back. That's the thing. It took a long time. Maybe it's been like
Yeah.
3 years or something
Yeah,
like
because
that.
you stopped playing football, bro. I was
Yeah.
like, yo, like I heard you were like most improved player of the season, and I was like, okay, this boy doing moves like
It's cause
he's crazy, like.
my bro, like yeah, the shoulders actually fucked me up, bro. Like I was always in pain, man. And honestly, bro, like I'd actually like I would take not have playing football that year and all of my years not to have that pain, like genuinely,
Really?
bro. Cause like I could have this for the rest of my life, genuinely,
Wow.
and it could get worse over
See,
time.
this is something I'm struggling with right now because I'm like, do I keep playing and fuck it up more?
Yo, just but
Because,
like
bro, it's bad. Like the thing is, I injured it January and re-injured it like May or so or June. And now we're about to go to the provincials. So before the provincials, there's the finals. So initially we were supposed to have a bye where it's like even regardless of how we do in the finals, we still get there.
yeah.
But for some reason, like Rugby Ontario changed the rules this year, where it's like they only take the top 4 of Ontario now.
Dang.
So now we have to win the finals to be at the top of our Eastern Ontario region. And then I'm struggling, like I'm battling this like decision. It's like, yo, do I have the faith in my team to just sit out and just watch the finals?
Yeah.
Or do I risk playing in the finals and then get injured in the provincials?
Yeah.
Because if we win there, it's like, yo, we're provincial champions. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
It's all about like risk management, man, and that stuff is really important as you grow older. Like for me, bro, like I mean, like when we were playing like in the championships, bro, like I remember when we won our was it our 3rd or 2nd championship? It was
yo,
one of
they're
them.
just like that, bro. Bro, this guy collects rings, bro. I remember him. He was like, yo, they be getting 1 ring, 2 ring, 3 ring.
Yeah.
And I see Manny, like, that nigga just,
Yes,
he just
bro.
got, like, the boxes and shit. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, yo, like,
got that merch.
and, like,
bro.
apparently if you spend, like, 300, you get, like, real, like,
Oh yeah.
real gold. Like,
Yes, yeah.
So it's like you either get the fake ones, you know what I'm saying, like just for like the fun of it.
No, you get the real.
Oh,
shit, bro.
you get the real
You get the
shit, like the
platinum
real
rings, bro.
like rings that you get when you win the NBA championships.
Yes,
That shit.
that's the kind of rings we got.
I was like, yo, I gotta start playing football
it
too.
was sick, bro. That shit was sick, man.
I gotta start playing football too.
But yo, like I remember, like I dislocated this shoulder. Like a guy just hit me really hard, and bro, like you know, I was just thinking like, well, it's already hurt right now, like.
Yeah, might as well just.
Like, and the thing is, like, I popped it back in socket, so I was like,
Oh, you just did that, like.
yo, it was on film actually. It's on YouTube, bro. Like the championships on YouTube, I got hit. They're like, oh, this guy's down. Like he's been, he's been
Oh, you're a
contributing.
demon,
This
bro.
might be a shift in the game. And I was just like,
Nah.
I was like, oh shit, like, yo, like my trainer was coming on, and I was like, fuck, this hurts so much, fuck. And I went like,
Bro, I remember this guy back in the day, bro. back in the day. When we used to go to the same school, bro.
Literally a year ago.
Crazy. No, but I meant
Which
like.
is crazy. I know what you
meant,
mean. I
like,
know what you
grade
mean.
10, like 9,
Yeah,
10,
yeah,
like, around that.
Pre-COVID.
I was 9. Pre-COVID. This guy would come back with crazy stories, bro. Like, we'd be in drama class, and this guy comes back talking about,
Drama class. That was
bro,
sick.
it was talking about, I just played with this guy called Nasser, and he just comes back like, bro, I baptized this kid. I'm like, yo. Okay.
For reference, Nasser is like 6'3".
Yeah,
something.
6'3", like big, fast.
Yeah.
He was like the kind of guy that you look at, you're like, what are they feeding these kids nowadays? You know what I'm saying? Like, he was a big dog.
Shout out to
And
Nasser,
then
bro.
I run into Nasser literally the same week. Like I was like at near the Popeyes, because you know, like I'm black, I like eating chicken. You know what I'm saying? So tight shit. So obviously I was going there, you know what I'm saying? And obviously he's black too, so he was coming by.
Okay.
So then I'm like, yo,
It's all
okay.
coming together now.
Exactly. So I'm like, yo, Nasser, like, what happened last game? I'm like, I heard you got baptized by this kid, John. He's like, yo, we don't talk about it. I'm like, oh, we don't talk about it. All right. This guy used to be a demon, bro.
Yo, like
I
just
just want to
love
be
football,
like you, bro. I still do, but like not like when I heard the crazy like
I
football
appreciate
stories,
it.
bro. I was
I
like, yo,
appreciate it.
I gotta be like John, bro.
Yo, bro, like I don't know, man. Like the football, like competition brings the demon out of me, man.
Yo,
like I
this
like
guy's
that
a
shit, bro.
demon,
I
bro.
know you a
Bro,
demon.
you know
on
they call
rugby
me
as well.
demon, bro.
Really, that's your
Black
name?
demon, bro.
Black
Oh,
demon.
God, dead ass, bro.
The devil.
No.
I fucking love that name, but I call myself the fallen angel, bro. It sounds nice.
Oh, Lucifer,
The
baby.
fallen angel type shit. Cause you got
Lucifer,
you got
man.
demon and you got fallen angel. You know which one sounds
Yeah,
nicer?
yeah,
But
yeah,
nobody
yeah.
calls me that.
Nah, I see it.
I call you that.
Nobody calls me
I'll
fallen
call you
angel.
that. The
'Cause
fallen angel.
you can't give yourself nicknames. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
Bro, there's a guy on my team. He calls himself Black Jesus, bro.
Black Jesus.
And we started calling him Black Jesus.
He's just him,
not
man.
good.
He's just him.
Bro's like, cause he played football. Do you know him?
What's his name?
Why the fuck am I forgetting his name, bro? Ryan Imamu.
He
He's
must
like
be younger
2
than
years
me.
younger.
Yeah, then I wouldn't know him.
But he plays.
Oh,
big boy.
wait, I might know him. I
Ryan.
know him.
But like he had a peak. Like now he's good as fuck.
Yo, what?
He plays like in the front row. Like he's like a lineman, D line or some shit.
I play with.
There's no way you played with him, bro.
No, I know I played with him, but there's someone with a nickname and I forgot what it was, bro. It
Okay.
sounds familiar, man.
But
I've heard that last.
Yeah,
name.
like now he's like fucking good. Like he plays like left, and by the time the game is done, like I'm not even exaggerating, the players move where it's like now the players that were on his side of the field are now on the other side.
Oh yeah, they're scared.
It's
They're
that-
injured, bro.
it's
They
that
can't handle-
bad,
They
bro.
can't handle him.
It's that bad, and like now he's on our team, and I fucking see why. Like
Yeah.
you toss him the ball, and that guy has to be like nearly 300 pounds, but he fucking moves, bro. It's like a Manny. So you literally toss him the ball, he could literally walk through the field, bro. Like that's why he calls himself Black Jesus, bro. Like he literally just
Yo,
he gets
that's
the
why
ball.
they're
and
not
he
gonna be
goes.
ready when I get the height surgery, man.
He goes.
I'm about to play. I'm about to drop myself back into the league, bro. Be 6'8". I'll be like, yo, I'm ready.
Type shit.
I'm 90% legs, bro. I'm like, yo, I'll run fast as fuck.
Like, bro, that's why like
That's a fat leap you can take, bro.
yeah, exactly. I
yeah.
jump over them, bro. I walk over them.
and like I used to like before
Walk
my
over
injury.
them.
Before my injury, I was like the starting prop, like for that position. I got injured. Tell me why now I'm on fucking bench, bro. That he took that shit because I'm not. Bro, honestly, I feel like once I recover, like I'll take it back. But like now that I'm injured and I see him from the sidelines, bro, It's a demon, bro.
Yeah.
It's Black Jesus.
Yeah, yo, you don't see your teammates. That's what I noticed. You
Bro,
never
you
see your teammates how good you are, like when you're on the field, bro. But playing as a good
Once you-
team is so good.
Bro,
I remember when we
it's-
played our film, bro. We never
Bro.
saw our film, bro. We barely saw our film. The end of the year, we saw the most game film we had the whole
Yeah.
year, bro. And we like, yo, we are terrifying,
bro. Like,
we are dogs, bro.
bro. Our team, there's one game, they beat another team like 70 something
Wow,
to like 5.
that's mad.
And the only reason that team scored 5 is because one of our guys like fucked up and thought the ball was out, so he was fucking around, just tossed it, and then they jumped on it, just like went in the end zone, like because in rugby you have to tap the ball on the floor.
Yeah.
So the guy just tapped it because he just happened to be there, and like, oh, we got 5 points.
Wow.
But like in a real like game scenario, if
wins
it
you
was
can.
serious, bro, they would have lost like 70 something to 0. And in rugby, it goes by 5-point increments. So
That's mad.
70 is like 20 plus.
yeah, bro, bear.
Okay, no, I'm tripping. Yo. Why's my bad so bad? My math is so bad, bro. My bad.
It's like
It's not 20, but you get what I mean. Like it's like 10 plus, like maybe 12 up to like 15, whatever. But like I don't do math, bro. I'm a philosopher.
like I think it's like
bro.
14, bro.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I do philosophy, bro.
He's
You
a
were
philosopher.
there. You're around there.
Yeah, I'm not there no more.
Yo, but like, contact sports, bro. Contact sports were so fun, man. And honestly, like, I wish I had the physical attributes to be able to play that, man. Cause like that shit was fun. That was so fun.
Bro, tackling people, bro.
Yeah, but like, but like, I just got too short, too small.
Nah, bro, being short is low-key good when it comes to tackling, bro.
Not for football, bro.
Oh, okay, for rugby it is.
It's just, especially cause you're a DB, bro. Like,
Yeah, bro, this guy used to be
bro, like, once these guys get so
safety,
big, bro, like,
and like a free safety.
yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yo, but like at that point, like, bro, like I got so injured, and
Yeah.
there was, bro, these people were weighed so much more, so much taller than me, bro. Like, I'd have to like focus solely
when you
on
talk
football.
About, like, way so
on that.
much more, bro. Earlier this year, I got invited to like this camp. It's like it was in York. No, not a camp, like a clinic. And it was like the Rugby Canada coaches in, like Toronto Arrows.
Mhm.
And there were like maybe 30 guys from the province. And the only reason I was there, bro, I was looking at fraud. I only ended up there because my coach got connections, and he saw potential in me. But like the guys there were like top ranked, like guys who were like they're him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like the fraud there. Like I was just like a new
the
guy.
imposter.
An imposter, like a guy who just started rugby but with like potential, right?
Mhm.
Tell me why I'm the tiniest guy there, bro. Like I was 185, and the next guys were like 230 plus.
Damn.
Wow.
And they were my position, bro.
Wow.
My position.
Did you compete good?
Bro, no, we were learning there. Like it was
Oh,
like
you
a
were
clinic.
learning.
Like they were teaching us like like how they
Okay.
do it like at the next level, like the forms, training outside, like what you need to work on, the proper terminology and shit like that. So those are guys when I go to like we've already played against them, a few of them, but when I go to like the provincial, like the rugby, like Ontario Junior Cup, those are guys that I'm gonna be competing against.
Yeah.
My exact position. And I'm 185 pushing against the guys that's 250. Like
Yeah.
against each other, bro. And I'll be the tiniest guy. And like those are the time where you start realizing like, yo, my form gotta be good, bro.
Yeah, like you have to be really good.
When you're going against a guy who's like 70 pounds over you, bro,
Yes, you gotta be really
That's
good.
fine.
your
man.
form gotta be good.
Yeah, full alive, bro.
And, like,
you have
That's
to be
mad that you
good.
can even compete though,
Bro,
based on your
I
form.
try to switch, fam. I try to leave that position, and my coach was like, "Nah, you got potential." It's always the
Nah,
coaches, bro.
nah.
I swear to God,
You staying.
I wanted to leave so badly because that clinic literally scared me, bro. Because I was like, "Yo, those are because the thing with me, I'm trying to make Team Canada U19 or U20. Like, I genuinely believe, like, I still my ground, I could make it. So I'm like, those are the guys for my position. They only take 2. That exact position. There are only 2 of us on Team Canada because it's like a tiny team of like 23 guys. So it's like, those are like that guy. Like, I need to be top 2 at this position where the guys are like 75 pounds over me. I was like, yo, coach, switch me. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm
Get
like
me outta
fast.
here, bro. Yo.
I'm like fast, agile. Like, I got different skills. Like, I could do something else. He's like, nah, bro. He's like, nah, you staying there. Like, you're not moving. I'm like,
Oh
bro.
my gosh, bro.
That's why. That's also why you gotta have trust in like high authority too. Because now that I trusted them, I started working on it. Now I can kind of see like straight off my like power and like intensity and form alone, those guys like you can push against them because it's like it's all about physics.
Coach knew best.
Like yeah, like because the thing is when you apply force, you're also relying on each other's like balance to like, push forward, right? So
Right.
those fat
Okay.
guys don't have the same room of motion as I do, so I can get much lower than them, and as they push, I can just push like against them, and now they lose all their like power because you know when you squat, when you go like you move out of the position of like the squatting position, you lose all the power. So once I get you out of that position, I can kind of just keep pushing, right?
Yeah.
So me at 185,
So does it even work in your favor?
it literally works so well. Like
Yeah.
at my position, like our team we're not the biggest guys, but we win those, like we call them scrums. Like we win the scrums because we just have like that edge. Like we have proper form and we have the practice that we like need. We have like the highest level coaches. My coach coached Team Canada like girls for like the Team Canada women, and like he coached at every level. Like right now in rugby, there's like 4 provincial teams, and from those 4 teams, like in Ontario, there's like 4 region. Each team has like their own coaches, and the scouts look at you from those 4 teams to invite you to like Team Canada and stuff. He coaches one of those, so it's like he's like a really high level coach. So
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
you trusted him enough.
so it's like, bro, like I was like, yo, coach, get me out of there. He's like, he never did. Now I'm like, okay, now it works well because now when I moved to university, I'm not the fastest guy, I'm not the biggest guy, but I have like a bigger like skill set.
Right. You have some
But do you
leverage
He
there.
thinks further.
Do you want to? Are you still gonna play rugby in university?
Yeah. So what happens is because he has those connections, he spoke with a U of T coach, sent him my email, gave him like really nice recommendations. So obviously, like I'm not first team because like usually freshmen don't make first teams like rugby unless you're like exceptional, which I'm not exceptional. Like I'm good, but I'm not like once in a like decade. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna be like second team. So I'm gonna like go to the trial. The coach is gonna like actively look for me, knowing that my coach literally scouts for Team Canada. So with all like the good information that my coach sends out, I'm pretty much I know I'm gonna be on the team. So like what's gonna happen is, do I make it to first team next year or not? So that's all I'm thinking
Right.
of.
That's
why
the goal.
that's why like I need to
Yeah.
start rehabbing properly, and I need to like take my ankle like seriously because
Yep.
if I don't, bro, like I'm like injuries like they just like destroy your whole game. Like especially for me, I'm like really like quick and like I like to move like laterally and be shifty.
Right. So it takes away all of your leverage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yo, bro, like
Bro, trust authority. Like the guy who's above you, he's above you for a reason, and he has that expertise, that experience.
Yeah. They have perspective on your position as well.
Exactly.
yo for it's interesting that like I honestly like I would love to have played football at the higher level. And like like I don't know, man, like I wished I maybe like I put in the effort. And like I kind of want to play.
No, but you
again.
kind of did though. I remember you used to run with the weighted vest and
Yeah.
shit. Doing the
No, but like I like still playing now. I mean,
okay.
but like, yo, like what I was so sad for me was that like I was just thinking that I just didn't have the time to put in to football
Yeah.
anymore to be able to like
Right.
actually go to do everything that I want. And people always talk about a lot of sacrifices and
Yeah.
like I always try to say that like you shouldn't be able to make any sacrifices unless you really want it, but something like football is something I really do miss.
Yeah.
And it's something that I really don't have the time for anymore, which is quite unfortunate because like 3 practices a week and working out like every single day is
It's tough, bro.
it's not really
Like,
like
people don't understand. Like you hear 3 practices a week, maybe 2 hours. You're like, nice,
Yeah.
fine. I'll just commute. Like, nah.
nah.
Like once you go to practice and you come back home,
Mm-hmm.
and you gotta study. Or that's
gotta
when they
study,
really
bro.
test your like drive.
Yeah,
Like,
and then you gotta.
are you really about it? Like,
Yeah, you gotta study, bro. You gotta grind. You gotta run companies, bro.
and when you have a girlfriend, it's like
oh yeah,
you come
there's
home, you
nothing,
gotta
bro.
hear, bro. Like, bro, shut the fuck up.
You have
let
to
me
live
sleep.
together, or you're never seeing them, bro.
Yeah.
So, but like, yo, man, like, I had to manage like the risk with that. Like, I was like, what? Well, like, I'm losing something I really care about. Like, what's the advantage?
Exactly.
And that's something that I've been trying to get better at as well.
Right.
But like, I was just thinking, like, if I eventually my brain is about to be a multi-billion-dollar asset
Type shit. I like to hear that.
if I keep banging it into big men,
CTE.
exactly, bro. I'm gonna have Alzheimer's by
Bro's
the
gonna
time
have
I'm
to insure
30,
his
bro.
brain.
Exactly. Yo, we'll
Put
have that.
insurance on that.
We'll get that with Algo soon, bro. I'll get brain insurance, man. I'll download your brain scan. But yo, yeah, man.
Now I like that application from a financial standpoint.
Yeah.
That's like profit, bro.
Oh yeah, that's like the
That
chief
comes-
financial officer right there.
Yeah.
Bro
That-
thinks
that'll-
ahead.
They'll
Yeah.
come after we make all the robot versions of you as well. We'll
Basically, like sub him off. Like,
yeah, exactly.
oh yeah, we've had enough of you.
Yeah. Yo, imagine, bro. Imagine someone literally like takes you like you wake up right one day. It's like instead of like in a cold bathtub with like a line on your back because they stole your kidney, you're just on like an MRI, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Yo, we just took your brain, bro. Like we're letting you go. We can have you. You
we
don't
just
sleep.
stole
you don't cry."
your 30 years worth of like.
They
Yeah.
just give you like a toddler's brain. Where'd you get the
Wow.
toddler's brain from?
Yo, chill out.
Well, if you woke them up, they must have had a brain in them. So where did the other brain come from?
No, I like the way I think is that he just copied the information.
I'm saying on the cloud. I'm not saying like some
Yeah,
like
not
like
like void
not
of
Get
it.
Out type shit, bro. Like,
Oh, not like in some like dungeon.
No.
You got like your one surgeon there. You're like, yo, hurry up. He's-
Ale.
His hand is like shaking with the
yeah,
scalpel.
some
He's
dark
like,
some dark laboratory
He's
in
got-
Moscow.
Yeah. He's got like a gun to his head, right? Like on the surgeon, right? They're like, hurry up with that.
At that point, why would they even bother you waking you up, bro?
What's
Like
that?
they just take your brain, like they just cut.
Well,
your
they might
head
want to
open.
plop you back into Earth without, because otherwise they would look for you, right?
Mm.
I mean, if you're at the point where you're in like Moscow, being like your brain stolen, I don't think you're getting out of that.
Well, maybe not with Joe Biden as president, but you never know what could happen.
True. Yo, how do you guys think?
Oh my god.
Yo, mate, I want to hear what are your predictions? Like, what's about to happen in any field, whatever you're thinking about in 2030? Like, how's the world do you think is gonna look like?
2030.
Yeah.
I feel like it'll be like a massive shift, and like it's gonna be extremely conservative. Cause the way you look at it, like when it comes to like, I feel like when it comes to politics, it's like there's always this transition where it's like it's either really liberal and then it becomes conservative and
Yep.
then liberal again. And the thing with liberals is they love fighting the institutions, and now the institutions are liberal. So then now like they start fighting against themselves. Like you'll see climate activists protesting while trans activists
You're right. Yeah.
protesting. So now you start seeing them fight against themselves, and you start seeing these forces who are conservative just capitalize on those kind of things. And so it's like it's always this cycle, and it's inevitable. Like there's people that come in to like put a system in place, and then people that fight that system to make it better, which are the liberals, and then people who run that system, which are the conservatives. It's always like a constant cycle. So because now it's so liberal, I feel like it'll just shift towards a more conservative world. And the question is, when will it hit? Like, I'm not sure. I can't say exactly around 2030. Maybe it could be like 2027 or something like that, you know? But I know like in the next few years, we'll definitely see a shift. Because now it got to the point where it's just too much. Like people who didn't identify with conservative values are now rejecting liberal values. And now they're forced to identify with the conservative ones, because what was conservative before is now, it's just not the same. Like it just changed. So I think
Shifted, yeah.
I think by 2030, it should be a lot more conservative than it is now.
I
for
do see
sure.
that within Canada. I can't speak for America. I'm not too inclined with the American politics as of right now. But I definitely agree. Like for the most part, like you just tell by the culture. Like as you said, people are just tired.
Yeah.
And it's not even like,
But like I think it'll get worse. Like maybe next year or the year after,
oh,
it'll
yes.
be even more liberal.
No,
than it is now.
the extremism is gonna get
Yeah.
so much worse.
Yeah.
And like, you know, like again, like I'm not saying like, you know, how I objectively feel about either of those things, but from my own anecdotal observations, between my friends, between people who I know, between just the general consensus online,
Yeah.
like the overwhelming majority of the people that I've seen, just
They won't change.
like, well, it's not even like they're about like they want to like have an avalanche of change. They just want. It's more like they just want to get shit done. Like they want to focus on
they're
what.
tired basically.
Yeah, they just want to focus on like actual policy. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like a lot of this.
Tired of like the promises to like fix indigenous reserves and nothing happens. You know.
Yes, exactly. Like we like take the attention away from stuff that like, you know, like our social constructs and whatnot.
Yeah.
Which is like what's like the activism's happening right now, and focus more on like, you know, making policy changes.
Yeah.
And you see that right now where like, you know, like a lot of liberal governments are hyper focused on political correctness.
Yeah.
Contrast to, you know,
Change.
actually
Yeah.
making your country a better place.
Yeah.
And like maybe I'm also been exposed to like biased media, but like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. A lot of people aren't happy with the current leaders of Canada right now, from what I can tell.
Yeah.
And also a lot of the
I was looking at a graph the other day, and it was basically just documenting like how the Canadian like society like feels about their president, and for some reason like people used to hate the Harper government.
yes.
And then the Trudeau government came in, people liked it better, and then it reached a certain point where people are now hating the Trudeau government more than they hated
Way
the
more.
Harper government. So like when you compare the two, they hated so and like
That's interesting because I remember they hated Harvard. They
Exactly.
They
hated
hated
so like you can kind of see like the more the cycle like happens, the bigger it becomes and the more extremes it becomes.
That's
And so like the hatred that they used to have for Harper is almost insignificant to the hatred they're gonna have for Trudeau.
yeah.
And
yeah,
then
I see what you're saying.
once someone comes in for instead of Trudeau or like even like in America in like the States, once like that shifts, I honestly feel like there's gonna be a civil war at some point, like in a few
A
years.
civil war.
In the next 10 years, like like
Really?
honestly, like I feel like
It
maybe
just,
that's
like,
extreme, but like by 2030, like I kind of see it coming, like in the States, and like I'm not some sort of like geopolitical, like I don't know much about like geopolitics and stuff like that, but from what I see, it wouldn't seem right that the States somehow fix themselves. Like I feel like there's gonna be a major conflict, and then through that conflict, they're gonna come to a common consensus, or one group is gonna be silenced by the other.
I see what you're saying. Like there's a lot of this is like maybe a greater commentary of which again like I'm not vastly educated on, but it seems like, you know, America and its superpower state and its grasp against the world is in a very frankly unstable state.
Yeah, very weakened.
Because their own ideologies conflict with each other.
Yeah.
And everyone else is unified.
Yeah.
Every other country that's like rivaling America, their ideologies are quite unified, or rather it seems that way. And probably more so than America. Like we have a lot of Americans fighting amongst themselves, and just like Westerners, you know, NATO.
Yeah, exactly.
We're focused on really silly games. And I'm not like saying like silly games as in like the protests and like whatnot. It's just like games to like be politically correct, or like just games to get the vote, games to like seem like have this character. That's the games I'm talking about. Not nothing so specific, but like I can see why they do it, because you know they want control of like the most powerful country in the world.
Yeah,
but like
that's not happening.
because of the games we've been playing, bro,
Yeah,
we might not
that's
even.
out of the window.
But we might not even be that. Like we might not even be that superpower in the long term.
Like by 2030, that is what I definitely don't see the States being the world like most powerful.
I mean, like
nation.
I don't know about that. I don't know anything about that. But like the fact is that there's a threat.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, this is something that I agree with the Western ideology so far. I like I am a capitalist, and I am all for the freedom of opportunity.
Okay.
And like authoritarian governments shouldn't rule the world.
Yeah.
That's I feel like that's pretty agreeable on everybody's terms who's a Westerner. Like I feel like everybody agrees with that. Freedom.
No.
Well, you're right.
A lot
Yeah,
of
like,
people don't, bro.
not many people agree with that, but people like freedom.
The
Will
majority
freedom
of the
speech.
populace.
Yes, I mean there's some people who are misguided, but like the thing is
The
the people who are
majority-
misguided
Yeah,
are
they believe in it.
like no, but they relish in that. If they were ever shown something else, they'd be like, oh fuck, I hate this, my bad. Like they're Westerners, like they
Yeah.
like it whether they want to.
Point
admit
is,
it
we're
or
all
not.
basically worried about the same things, and
We just want freedom.
it doesn't really matter that much. Like it's all just a game. At the end of the day, like if you just talk to your neighbor, like you're pretty similar to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like you live here, so we're all influenced by.
I mean, I'm
very
not
similar
gonna
things.
magically dye my hair blue tomorrow, but yeah, we're similar. We're similar.
No, but like even when they saw you, right? Like she texted you like, "Oh yeah, your speech was so good and shit," and she's like, "Oh yeah, like I only agree to them." Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you feel about this shift in conscious expression? Now, not specifically towards like not specifically towards like the LGBTQA plus community.
No, it's two SLGBTQIA
my bad.
plus.
Yeah, my bad. Thank you.
Damn.
But like also in terms of like well, this is like one example, but again, like I want you to be as broad as you can with this, like how men have become more effeminate.
Okay, so what do you mean by conscious expression? Like,
Just like genuine expression of.
okay, well, how do I
people.
feel about men becoming more feminine?
Well, like that, or it could be like just in
Okay.
general,
Expressing themselves more freely.
Okay, so
like dynamics between people. Like how do you
have you
How do
heard
you feel about
the
Gender parity and shit.
like in
okay,
terms
so
of like
have you
like
heard the
Christianity.
saying where it's like, hard times make hard men, and hard men make easy time, and easy times make weak men, and weak men make hard times.
Yes,
and hard
yes.
times make hard men.
Yes.
So I think we've finally come to that point where easy time have made for weak men. Now those weak men are creating hard times.
Yeah.
So I think that's gonna change. I don't think that's gonna stay forever.
Mm-hmm.
However,
Yeah, it's just cyclical.
yeah, but however though, I do find it to be a shame because like those issues cause a lot of like problems in our community, like more than we realize. Like even if you look at the black community, for example, like a lot of the issues that we have come from lack of parental like guidance, and that's from men not doing their job as men.
You think it's a cultural thing?
I think it becomes cultural when you start to like those like it starts to go down generations. Like I think it could be changed, but like it became a cultural thing because generations of fatherless homes were raised and it just got worse.
I think it's pretty typical for like offspring to mimic
Yeah.
their parents' behaviors, just no matter how much they despised it, they would
Yeah.
usually find themselves mimicking it. In order to not mimic it, it's against all odds, basically.
Yeah. And like I do find it to be a lot of like it's a shame like that a lot of men are just not acting the way they should be. However though, I do think like people are gonna realize that somewhat. Like once you realize that the women have started realizing it. Like I see it like Instagram comments, they're like women are becoming more masculine because the masculine men are becoming more feminine. And like the more like if you think about it, like even patriarchy is built upon like women's desire. Like if you think about it, like the reason we even have patriarchy is because men want to be the absolute best and dominate everything else so they can like attract the female gaze, right? So once
Yeah.
the female like stop being attracted to you,
It actually creates like this interesting pair. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, keep
Okay.
going. I feel like I know where you're going.
Like,
and I
creates
like that.
this
Yeah.
This parody
Oh, parody,
issue. I was
okay,
gonna say this
never mind.
parody
Oh,
issue.
okay.
It is somewhat paradoxical in nature.
Right.
But I had this thought like maybe a few weeks ago, is that like if you think about like parody in terms of like why like men and women are attracted to each other, it's kind of like opposites attract, right? Like, I don't want to oversimplify it, but I'm also not like a psychologist, but if you see this like if men move this way generally for attraction to stay, the parity has to move, right?
Yeah.
But if then you see them move this way and they don't move back, it's like, so it's like if women, the way I see it, if women get more masculine, then men have to get more masculine as well, not the other way around. And I also see it as the burden on the men because of what you just said. Like men have always placed the burden on themselves of attracting the women.
It's
so
the opposite, though.
Was that?
I feel like it's the opposite of what you just described. I feel like the women are becoming more masculine because the men are becoming more feminine.
I'm saying that no matter why that happens,
okay,
it creates this weird ass issue of how the fuck like what is there?
Yeah.
Like what? Like how does love work?
Yeah,
how does reproduction
like
work?
basic,
If
like
we're all the same, right?
Yeah. Well,
So-
that's also why people are confused now, right?
Yeah.
Like if generally
I get you saying like the baseline, like if the baseline increases of masculinity,
Yeah.
then the women are be like, yo, where's the masculine men?
Yeah.
Because they're overpowered.
that's why it's kind of weird for me to see like men becoming more feminine, because it's like you don't have the gap to move there. Like you have to actually become more masculine in some sense.
Yeah.
But there's also shaming towards that. So once you start becoming that more masculine, now it starts becoming toxic. Like
It's because-
toxicity.
And I actually agree with you. They do become probably more quote unquote masculine because like there's roles that they have to take on that are traditionally masculine roles.
Yeah.
But again, then the outcome, it's like this parity issue. Like if there's no parity, then what?
Yeah.
Are we just all gay? like
I actually think from what I can observe, I actually find that we're gonna tend towards just like less aggressive traits, just on average.
No,
like
but
I think masculinity will just decline in overall
Well,
basis.
okay, so what if we're gonna have that conversation? I feel like
But if there's a civil
Well,
war,
let me just
then-
preface like what I mean by that is just like it's because like we're just getting a lot more like we just have a lot more comfort, like we're more focused on self-actualization,
right.
and we just by nature require less
taking all the
aggressive
need
traits.
out for those traditionally
Absolutely.
masculine
Yeah.
traits.
Exactly. Like survival is not dependent on, and that's also an important thing. Survival is not necessarily dependent on how aggressive you are.
Yeah.
On
You can be a
surface,
pussy and still make a
on the
paycheck.
surface. Well, it's not even that. You can look like a pussy and still make a paycheck and be aggressive as hell. Like look at Sam. No.
Hey, yo, Sam,
Don't hate
You
Yo.
must have been thinking about this for ages.
He's
bro.
talking to you.
You've been thinking about this for ages, bro.
John
For ages,
Surette.
you're like, yo, how did this
Co-owner
guy
of
get it?
MOTV.
How did this guy get it?
No, hey.
That should have been.
Well, bro,
This
look
guy-
at Sam McFreed. Look at Sam
Hey.
McFreed as well, bro.
Hey, hold
These
on.
guys, they don't. I'm not saying like they look like.
Get off me. John
Bro,
Surette,
my favorite quote, bro.
co-owner of MOTV.
These
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
My favorite.
What do you have
fucking
to
saying,
say?
My favorite thing. These guys are pussies, hanging around pussies, wondering why they're pussies.
Yes.
You deserve it.
And they wonder why they get no pussy. But like,
Hey, yo.
at the end of the day, like behind like the mask though, like these people are like demons on the inside. Like I think some people just don't get it. Like some people like they observe.
It just makes sense. It just
no,
makes
but like
sense.
like really observe it.
just-
and
it just makes sense.
but really observant and like critical guys who are like also like trying to get
I
laid.
personally have not consumed like 40 hours of.
Wait, sorry,
of-
I misspoke because Sam is gay, so like
Yeah,
it's over.
It's literally like.
Sam McFreed is a good example though. But there's like you couldn't just look feminine because like probably maybe it seems like you look like harmless. You're not gonna be aggressive. Maybe you can relate to them, whatever. Like all those.
But you're also
nuances.
not trustworthy because you don't look like you're responsible. You don't look
Yeah.
like you could like protect or whatever. And
yeah,
you can fight for your cause.
But
it
like
came
if
to
that's
it.
like if that's the standard where like the perceived areas like you should be more feminine, then you can also like like personality can also be exuded much more
At the same
masculine
time,
as
though, I
well.
feel like we kind of mix some traits from masculinity and femininity. Like, for example, like with the mental health, like awareness that's like on the rise. Sometimes, like I feel like it starts to get to this point where it's like when you're like masculine, you can't talk about it at all. Where it's like I feel like that's like a misconception. Like
Yeah, it
there's
is.
it's all about how you navigate it and how you talk about it. Like I think there's like strength in talking about some issues that are like important. As long as you just don't cry like a bitch.
It's
Like, let's be real. Like, you don't just like you can cry. I mean, like you can cry.
no,
but
I know
mean,
what
like,
you mean. I know what
don't
you
cry
mean.
about
Don't cry.
insignificant issues.
Don't. It's
like,
don't
it's
cry,
Not
don't
like
cry.
it's not
Like-
wallowing. It's like be proactive. Don't
like,
wallow.
yeah,
in
like
your,
if you're
in your
gonna
sadness.
cry so you let it out. So
You
you
can't
can
like
start
go on
making
cry every
decisions.
3 years.
Yo, shut no,
Yeah,
no, no.
exactly. We
Like,
have cards.
Nah,
Every
let
man
me-
has
let
like
me
a
put you
card.
on
You know the
game.
man card. We all have that like at the back.
Okay.
We gotta cut.
Let me put you on game, bro. If you're gonna cry well so that you get everything out, and then you start like actually doing something meaningful.
Yeah,
you
because
know?
that's
And
the
write
one
down
only
why you're
cry
crying.
have
Don't
in
let it
you.
happen again.
Yeah,
exactly.
like
That's-
don't just cry.
that's the one
'cause
cry
your
you
mom
have
said
every
clean
year.
your room. Like clean your room on your own.
Mike, when was
Don't
the
be
last
a
time you
bitch.
cried?
Last time I cried, bro, it was icing my ankle, fam. Cause
Okay.
like
Dang.
I was thinking of like the thing with me is like I start getting into deep thoughts, bro. And I was thinking of like, yo, like okay, like I'm losing my starting position, like I'm losing these offers, fam. I'm not gonna make Team Canada, like
Fighting demons.
you know what I'm saying? I was just thinking like the whole line, fam. And I wasn't even crying because of the pain. I was just crying like, yo, like 3 years from now, I'm not going to be in Team Canada, like
Shit, yeah.
winning against like South Africa and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was just being a dumbass, like just crying. And then at some point, like it wasn't like too many cries too, because I don't like crying that much, because then you get headaches. But I was like, yo,
I actually always got that as well.
I was
get
like, bro,
headaches so
fuck
bad.
that. Like, why am I crying, bro? Like, just ice your ankle.
Yeah, you
Start
sweat back in
rehabbing.
tears, bro. You went-
Like, start.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm like, yo, like, why are you crying, bro?
I can't waste
Start.
water.
I was like,
That
bro,
shit
why are you
back.
crying, fam? Like, start, like.
Put that back, bro.
I can't waste water. I missed that. I was like, yo, worry about, like, the future's gonna worry about itself. Like, worry about now.
Yeah.
Take the necessary steps
Yeah.
now.
Solve the problem.
Solve the problem from the root,
Alright.
and then laugh at it later on. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, fuck yeah, I'm gonna start
Alright.
icing that.
That's
that
right.
ankle.
That's what we do.
Start rehabbing. Yesterday I played, not the full game, because I still wanted
course,
to
of
heal
course.
properly. But when I got out there, I felt good, bro. Like
Yeah.
it was taped. I felt good. I was like, yeah, like I'm seeing like my future laying
Okay.
out again.
That's what
That's
it's about,
momentum.
man. It's
But
just about.
Like
It's
the
just about
last
moving
time, maybe it
forward.
was like 2 weeks ago. Like that's when I
Right.
was like, that's when it happened.
Okay.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Solve problems. Laugh about them later.
Thank you, MOTVPOD. We'll see you later, bro.